Well, welcome to the show tonight, and of course we're here for the next 2 hours, and I've got to try my hardest to try and get the name of the show right. So it's the D&K Straight Talking Reposs non-league show for the very, very first time tonight. But we've had an interesting week, haven't we?
Certainly have, mate. Certainly have.
It's been one of those weeks where I've been pinged with emails all week, and you know, maybe we might get to sort of situation out. Who knows? But,
yeah, we know. And I've turned into Dear John. So
you have, yeah.
I think I'm going to have my own show, Dear Keith. So anyone out there at the moment, for some reason, that has a bad decision, they're tweeting and messaging me and everything. So yeah, I obviously need a new phone soon, Dave. But we can't do all that later.
But of course, to my right, joining me and Keith tonight, he's Adam, of course, new half-time manager. Welcome, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
And joining us on the phone at about 8 o'clock tonight is, well, you'd probably say he's got almost 2 legs in the Premier Division, and as a manager in.
I think he's got 3/4 of his time.
I think he has, yeah. Tony Russell from Cray Wanderers, who will join us on the phone at about 8 o'clock tonight. So we look forward to talking to Tony and see if he's already got the champagne popping already. But we'll find out from him at about 8 o'clock. But we'll go into the Premier Division first. But of course, one thing, if you do like our new logo, which you've seen a few times on Twitter and Facebook as well, mine and Keith's new logo, then please comment on it. We're going to try and get some merchandise made up. So if anybody out there wants to maybe cups and some t-shirts and stuff like that, so it will be available pretty soon. But
we're actually getting some miniature mannequin referees in a kit, and they're going to have they're sponsored by us.
That's it, absolutely. Why not? Yeah. Voodoo dolls. Right, so going on to what do we want to call it? We'll call it what it's like. So okay, let's go to the Boston Premier Division then first, and it is Bognor Regis Town 2, AFC Hornchurch 0. 475 there to see that one, but good result for Bognor, and Hornchurch looked like it was on a little bit of a mini revival.
Yeah,
good result.
I think we spoke about that when I spoke to you on Friday, Dave, and I expected Bognor to get a result there. Difficult place to go, and for some funny reason, and they've just let another one of my players, who I would say is mostly one of the best left backs in that league, Jay Porter. I spoke to him last night. And I think he's going to go up a league, so everyone there is going to, obviously, who's after him. It's a great plan. If you're letting someone like him go, it's strange, and I doubt it'll be for money. I don't obviously the full circumstance because I know Jay really well, but big loss for them. He hasn't got a club. I know he's talking now, but to go to Bognor, difficult, and I didn't expect him to get anything, if I'm honest.
Would you expect Jay though to be snapped up very quickly?
I think he'll be playing for someone on Saturday.
Yeah,
definitely. 100%.
Brighton in C1, Mersham 1, 231. Mersham getting a point to sort of get themselves back on track a little bit. But Brighton in C still going great guns, sitting up there in the 11th. Game in hand on all the people in the playoffs. So I mean, that could push them a point outside, or 2 points outside. They win that one.
Yeah,
so
they have.
Doing fantastic.
I think Aidan will be quite happy with that. They're going to someone that's obviously on a great form there and away from home, picking a point up. As you know, with the weather as well. I would say that must be a bit gusty up there. I don't know if you've been up there at all. You've been at Brighton?
No, not yet.
Trust me. I mean that in the nicest way as well. They're the nicest, some of the nicest people you'll ever likely to meet. The ground is a lovely little quaint little ground. It's nothing super
I actually know the goalkeeping coach there, John.
John Alban.
Yeah, so I know. Yeah, he was with me back in my days at Codicott. So he absolutely loves it there.
It's a stunning place, and to say the chairman there, Terry, he's just absolutely top draw. Really is. Carshalton 3, Haringey 1. Well, we all thought. I think on Friday night we were talking, weren't we? And we said, well, Carshalton have got this massive game. Is it tomorrow night or Wednesday night against Barnet in the Trophy? We thought, well, maybe they might put out a second string or take their after ball, especially with Haringey going there, and they're going to turn them over 3-1. For me, that's probably. I know there's been some great results, through the leagues and that during the weekend. But when you put it into context, I think that's probably one of the best results of the weekend.
It was. I tell you, David, and they did last year. Carshalton do remind me of a Haringey side. They've got pace. They're very good. Peter Dean's done a great job there, playing AstroTurf as well. But their cup run is the same as what Haringey's. It's made them perform even better.
Rejuvenated them,
and it hasn't. And they haven't. It's just kept the momentum going. And people say about cup runs can do that, and it's done it for Haringey, and it's done it for Carl Shilton, and good luck to them. They're just going to keep going up the league, I think.
So they're doing great guns. Corinthian Casuals against Lewis, game postponed. Lewis can't get a game for love nor money at the minute, can they?
No, and as we said, that game of the week, what a joke. What, you know, I don't think you could do anything. The game was never, ever going to go ahead, and you could just see the rain coming down, and, you know, it's not just, is it going to stop raining? You know the weather forecast, but you're just ruining their pitch for them as well. and you know it's not going to go past 20 minutes. Yeah. I think it didn't go past 5 minutes, did it?
No, it was very early on. The one that Ollie's told us to keep away from, but Dorking Wanderers 7, Kingstonian 1. There's got to be an incredible result, hasn't it?
Well, Dorking and whatever, you know, they do score a lot of goals. Well, we've said that. Say the result yesterday at Man City, Chelsea sort of thing. They're a good side, you know. Kingstonian are falling, hence, unfortunately, obviously going.
His job,
it's a great club, Kingstonian, and I don't think they're used to getting any big idings and something like that, and obviously they've acted on it. But it's I think, shot it's a cannon over the bows of all the sides just below Dorking, but they're in it and they mean proper business.
All of a sudden, you know, it's just gone from a case where they were behind, you know, hanged out one stage. Now all of a sudden, the 6 points clear. You know, it's just the gaps opened up very, very quickly. Isn't it? Yeah. Enfield Town 3, Burgess Hill Town 1, 421 there, and of course Mr. Bricknell getting a couple of goals as well. Yeah,
and it's put them just outside the playoffs now.
I actually spoke to Andy today because we've got one of his lads on loan, and I think he wasn't expecting too much. I think he's got quite a few missing, and he was really, really pleased with that result and the way they played. And some of the lads that come in who haven't been playing as many minutes, have been on the bench, he said performed really, really well. So I think that's actually, maybe though you may be expecting to win, I think that's actually a really good result. He was really pleased with that.
They've crept up there, David. No one really saying anything. They're Mersh and Folkestone. The only worry is, and we've said this before, Burgess Hill seem to have a little revival when they change management. Now they're struggling again, and they are in a little bit of trouble.
And you look at that, top 9 and top 10, and you can go down and think, well, look, 13, Kingstonian, Brighton in C, maybe the exception, but Bishop Stortford, Leatherhead, Tonbridge, Worthing, Lewis, Enfield, Mersham, Folkestone, Bognor, Haringey, Dorking. It's like some big, powerful teams up there.
And that's why Dorking's done so well. And I know they're in a new ground and finances are different now, but historically, if you put them with them clubs we've just said, and Haringey, to be fair, I know, God, there's some big clubs in that league.
It's just incredible. Yeah. Harlow Town 2, Folkestone Victor 4. I mean, this looks to me like a real sort of sloppy first 25 minutes, and that caused the issues really. That first sort of 25 minutes.
70 on Friday, I thought it'd be a game too much for Harlow. Folkestone are going on a really good run. Folkestone scored twice again for them, which is good for everyone. But there's just something about Folkestone at the moment that Cubs has got them going, and to go away to Harlow and get a result of like that, score 4 times is excellent, and the crowd come out as well, Dave.
Yeah, 7-4. Yeah. Leatherhead 1, Bishop Stortford 0.
Yeah, good result Leatherhead. Someone I know went down and watched the game. His lads on loan at Leatherhead. They needed the points, and obviously they've done well there. I would say that pitch would have mostly been heavy as well with rain, so that's sort of kept them with a little chance, Dave, you could say.
Tonbridge Angels 1, Margate 1, 530J getting a first point.
I don't know about that result, Dave. I don't know who called that. It was on the cards. I see Steve McKim tweet that they deserve. It was a good game and wish Joe the best. But it was always going to happen that someone comes in and it's a great away point with the record they've been on, as we've been showing. They need more of it now, but I think with Jay now got another week, he'll settle it down, bring a few bodies in. I see them pushing on. I don't think that's a bad result for Tunbridge because of that reason. They've been on a great run of form. It keeps them going, keeps, there's another point, keeps them right amongst it, as you just said. It's 3 or 4 points, and they're in third, aren't they?
Well, this is the one that caught me off guard, because I thought Whitehall won this game, I'll be honest, until I read the paper the following day. Wingate Finchley 1, Whitehawk 1, and they get an equaliser in the 90th minute.
Yeah, and fair play to them. They need the points. I did read a tweet as well from their chairman a little bit about the manager thing, which I thought was poor. If I'm honest with you, and I know Aaron really well. I was a bit disappointed reading that. But they needed to get something with both teams being bottom and third from bottom. So
I don't think it does any of them any favours, really.
It doesn't. Not really. Whitehall can mostly be the happier, but they're not. You feel like you've lost the game, especially with that magnitude. It's a 6 point really now, and they won. They'll have an injury time.
Well, I went up and watched Wingate a couple of weeks ago, and they again I know Aaron really well, and they look like a good side, good footballing side, but just lacking something. I think through the quarter side, that's just not allowing them to kind of keep clean sheets and pick up results.
Now it ain't about football for them. They need to start battering and booting and fighting for their lives now. They've always been a very good football side and decent, can score goals. They like bringing some youngsters through. Now they need to proper get in the trenches, don't they?
Worthing won, Potters Bar Town won, and again another late goal as well because Worthing snatching the equaliser right here.
Yeah, keeps going these last minute goals, Dave. But Potters Bar won a little bit of result, but we said that about Worthing. They got to get out of this little sticky slump they've had. They were sitting second or top, weren't they? Maybe Christmas time was it? Yeah. Maybe it was just before. And now, I know they're only a few points out of it, but I actually said to you, I thought they were going to win it, really. Yeah, and they still could. Well, not about winning now, but they still could go on.
Absolutely. Going into the Boston North then, AFC Sudbury 4, Felix Walton 2. 337 there to see that, and 2 90th minute goals as well.
Yep.
I mean, great sort of last 7 minutes, 83, 87, 90 and 90. You don't want to leave early there.
No, it's good. Obviously Mark's done well there, isn't it? So if you look at, what we just said, they've sort of slowly, where we was talking about them, what was it, before Christmas, saying, they're in the bottom 4, I think.
Yeah.
And now look at them, they've put themselves in a decent position at 7th. We've
got a chance, haven't they?
They've got a chance. You won't fancy eating them at the moment.
No, certainly not. In a minute, just sitting outside. Abley 1, Morden and Tiptree 3. 304. Well, for me, I know a lot of people have said about Bowers and Pitsea away and running, but for me, probably I'd go even as far as to say in the 6 years that we've been sort of around, other than 1 year with Harlow where we was in the Prem, the rest of the time in the North Division, probably the best North Division side I've seen. Absolutely outstanding from start to finish. They were just an absolutely, for me, the best, as I just said, the best side I've seen at that level. Back 4, absolutely outstanding. And basically played us off the park. My personal opinion, and I know other people disagree with me, but I thought we could have been playing there for a month of Sundays and not scored. We've got a foul, we've got a penalty and scored late on, but it was just, they just looked, like an absolutely superb together outfit.
Obviously, it was a big game for Dave, and they're up for it, and they've done well. Sometimes you can happen. It doesn't mean, hopefully they've been there or thereabouts all year and strong. But when you do play sides around you, and we're going to come around result in a little while, it'll be very similar. If they play well, it happens. And like you said, I've mentioned it again. Chelsea ain't rubbish, are they? And it happens.
Yeah, and I think no disrespect with Abley. I know he came on. I've just seen him actually walk past us, but to go outside. But
he's asked me to go and talk to him.
I mean, Jason. I mean, that's the player we missed for me at the weekend. Somebody that of his class in Jason Raid. I mean, superb player. Probably one of the best players again I've seen at this level, and absolutely sensational ball player. And I think that's what we missed.
He's walking back.
He's walking back. Yeah, we miss him like crazy. For me, he's just the player that should. If he was out there, I think. He's the one player we've actually got that seems to be able to get the ball through to the attackers and does things that
I've not seen Morgan this year, Dave, obviously for certain obvious reasons. I don't go up there. But normally, if they've still got the culture of the leagues they like playing football, and your pitch can suit them all day long. So that's what they mostly train on nearly every day. I think I might have seen it might have been a draw on Friday, but it didn't. When I looked at the result and I see they won, I wasn't overly surprised.
It was just a standing performance. And all I'll say to people is if you haven't got a game to go and see at the weekend and your team's not playing, get yourself down to Bowes and pitch it because Wow, that's going to be some
big
game
game,
at the
yeah.
weekend.
Well, let's see, more than win that, that closes the gap massively, doesn't it?
Yeah,
3
drops it
points.
to 3 points. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing game of football. It'll probably be a 0-0 now. Bowes and Pitsea 3, Whittam Town 0. David Knight getting 2 of those.
Yeah, another good result. I know it's funny, Whittam can cause upsets against the top sides. I didn't expect it at Bowes, to be honest with you, Dave. And you know, we kept saying about managers, Smalls is doing a fantastic job there. And still, you know, they seem to be a machine and just keep getting results. And Saturday will be a great game by all accounts, by the sounds of things.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Bury Town 4, Basildon 2.
Yeah, it stops Basildon's little revival, doesn't it? Which is obviously a good result for Bury, and again it puts them still, you know, right amongst it now. And I think it's a 6 point gap, is it?
So
But
yeah,
they play 2 games more.
Yeah, so I was-
One of the lads I had, William was at, has gone to Basildon, Stuart Zanone, and he I spoke to him actually yesterday, and he said that actually up till the 3rd Bury goal, it was actually quite an even game. He said if the 2 late goals come, you know, Bury had kind of switched off. He said, but actually up till kind of 2-0, it was actually quite an even game.
Good mate of mine, Stuart. I made him the player he is now, if you're watching. Don't go away with him, especially Barcelona. That'd be another story.
Cockershall Town 3, Romford 1. And Romford really are starting to struggle now, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't want to be in form like this now, do they? Do you know what? I'm not from there, but and I know they're all away. But do you think that the pitch at East Thurrock is going to suit them at the moment? Because you know, when I was at Thurrock, they at least could play. The players don't pay anyone. Easter players now they've got to have a proper fight, and it's difficult. I like them over there. And, you know, they're my Molesley of the North Division a little bit, and I want them to do well. So just hope they can do what they normally do, and they're saving it for a last 6 game burst.
Yeah, again. But I mean, are you concerned though that if this year was the year that it would be a struggle for them then to actually get back in?
Well, no, because not with the plans they're saying about going back to Romford. That'll make a massive difference, Dave. And you know, it's a little bit.
But would that be more difficult for them to get someone to come in and sponsor the?
Not
saying when they're going to go maybe into the Essex League rather than being into
not with a new thing. I don't think it will. I think that they've got so many loyal people there that's helped them over the years. It might be the only club. It might not be the end of the world to do that, Dave, because at least they might be winning games at their new ground and then attract
Get more support in
to carry them again. But let's hope that doesn't happen anyway.
Yeah,
My worry this year is that there's always been someone around them, and now that they could pull in, you know, and I don't think there is now.
No, that's the problem.
That's my worry.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be doing pretty well, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
They could pull off a miracle.
Yeah.
So.
Durham Town 5, Barking 2.
What's all that about?
I know, they're having an unbelievable time, and all of a sudden they've bounced out now, 5 points out the drop zone. And I know we're saying about putting people in, but all of a sudden, Watford are 7 points adrift, Millwall are 5 points adrift. It's a big gap already, isn't it?
Yeah, it is now, and you know, it is the sort of time you're either looking over your shoulder either way now, or looking and that's what you've got to do. You know, 3 points is massive at this time of year. 12, 13 games to go. Yeah. You know, and it is.
It's going to be a struggle to get out of there now. Great Wakering 2, Grays Athletic 2. Last minute equaliser again for Great Wakering.
Yeah, and again, I don't know who's gone in there, Dave.
No, I was just about to ask you.
No, I didn't. I haven't spoken with Gauls because he scored in the week, which I was surprised he even could run that far up the pitch to get a goal. When you've got someone like him come in the squad, and I'm not too sure if Simon Glover's still there as well, as a friend of mine. 2 experienced characters, and Gauls will just pull them by their hair to get put in results, and he is the player they need.
Yeah.
You know, with all his experience and whatever. So, you know, they're a nice club as well. They got a decent little setup, and that's a good result for them. Really good result for them. Not a result really that Grays would have wanted.
It is a great result as well. Haybridge Swifts 1, Mildenhall Town 1, 229.
They were 1 up as well, were they? I thought I see that, and it was late. Yeah, a Haybridge just having that little wobble. It's not a massive wobble, but they're drawing some now where the other couple of sides are sort of maybe getting 3 points all the time. But again, I'm pretty sure they'll be fine to come back.
Soundtown Rangers 3, Brentwood Town 3.
Buddy, what are you doing in goal, mate? Really good result, obviously good for the neutral, 6 goals. But Brentwood do well to go away and get some points, don't they?
Yeah.
They've got that knack at the moment.
Did well. Tilbury 3, Canby Island 0. And of course, Mr. Sykes was giving us a few tweets through on Friday night, but they certainly did their business on there for Tilbury. And
swap places, as we said, haven't they? I know they've got a couple of games now in Canby, but that's big for Tilbury and doing really well there now. Doing really well. Got some great players on paper.
That's a tough place to go as well, Tilbury.
Well, they told me on Saturday that pitch is lovely. I was thumping down.
Not the place on a weekend. Going into Jigsaw League then, Chipstead 3, Chalfont St Peter 2, 117. What's that one in Chipstead?
Well, I mean, we actually went to Chipstead in the trophy with Welling, and a real game of two halves. But they're a good footballing side. They've got a real good mixture of strength and quality. Interested in that one because we've got, which I'm sure we'll come on to later. We've got Chalfont on Saturday, so kind of had someone over there to watch. And again, at the sounds of it, it was quite an even game. I think it sounds that Chalfont had the better of the first half. Chipstead come on strong in the second half. So yeah, that's a good. I think that's a good result. Chipstead, you probably expect them to win at home. It's quite a hard place to go. It is a tough place to go.
Must have been a bit of a mess over there on Saturday with the weather we had.
I mean, luckily, like I said, we went there in the towards the start of the season, and it was okay then, and that was at the start of the season. So,
well, here's the one. What's going on here? FC Romania 4, Bedfont Sports 2, 51 at Chester. Watch that, but all of a sudden FC Romania on a good run.
I tell you what, that transfer window must still be open in Romania, isn't it? Whoever's come over from whatever, they've just been passing them over here. 2 great results, obviously beating Cheshunt, and then them.
They're scoring goals. They're scoring, like you look at even the games they lost or they've been losing. That they're losing 3-2 or 4-2 or 3-1. You very rarely see them not score. Yeah. So I mean, that's again they're obviously ones in and around us at the moment. So yeah, I mean, like you just said about Derham and teams like that, they're picking up points at the right time. And making it difficult for everyone around them.
Hanwell Town 3 playing on their carpet, of course. Egham Town 1.
Yeah, we knew that. I know that someone was just taken over at Egham. He spoke to me the other week about some players, but I thought that was always on the card for that day. Honestly,
Hayes and Yedding 1, Cheshunt 0, 219. I know you were speaking to Mr. Edwards before the show.
Craig before the show, he rang me about something, and he was talking to me about this game and obviously the Romania game. Firstly he said what a good side Hayes were. And we've had a Hayes person come on and they won every single home game. They've averaged 5 goals a game. But Craig said he was Cheshunt were brilliant.
Yeah.
He said they played really well. If they would have had it up front, he reckons they would have won.
Yeah, one of the lads, I spoke to one of the lads, the Hayes boys, on Sunday, and they said it was really, really close, really well fought, good battle, and ultimately, actually, if he was being quite honest, he said probably a draw would have been probably a fair result, actually. And he said, like, Cheshunt were defensively really strong, and obviously the amount of goals that Hayes are scoring, obviously that obviously shows, I think.
Well, Craig said he changed his shape for him, to be fair, which he don't normally do, and he said his words to me was he looked, looking at them, and they looked at their strength to be one of their weaknesses, and they changed it. And he said, the same. If his actual words were, if you'd have put against FC Romania, if they would have played 50% like they did against Hayes, they would have beaten 5-0. Right. He said, but missing Jace is a big thing. I think they had a great chance towards the end of the game as well. But again, he said, they're a very, very good side, Hayes and Yedding, and you can see why.
Absolutely. Hertford Town 0, Ashford Town 1.
Don't know much about it. No, it was the lads done really, really well. We were really unlucky. I thought especially the first half hour of the first half, we were the better side, and we created loads of set pieces, loads of free kicks in and around the final third, loads of corners. Quality wasn't good enough. If I'm being totally honest, we didn't test them. We didn't really keep them make a save from any free kicks 30 yards out in wide areas, corners. But again, it's not a criticism. I've had the lads for a week. Haven't had really a chance to work on it. Don't probably even know who my best set piece taker is. So I'm not going to kill them too much for that. But we created some good chances in that first half, and we went in at half time, and we really did believe that we could get something out of the game. Again, similar to the Ware game, I think Ware obviously I've got lads that have come in who really haven't been playing. That's the reason why I've been able to get them in from other sides. they ran out of steam again with that kind of 25 minutes, half hour to go. Again, not necessarily their fault, but then Ashford just kind of, their bench was stronger, and the couple of lads they brought on, I think, did change the game. And just 5 minutes after their first change, I think the one that come on set the goal up. A little bit disappointing in the goal because it was a free kick, probably 30 yards out. Keeper's parried it. It's gone straight down into the middle of the box, and they've just reacted quicker. It's a bit disappointing, but again, it's a massive positive and a massive progression from the Ware game again. Really, with a few more lads that have come in. So.
It must be difficult though I know you've been for it yourself, like to go into a club and then find that you've got next to no players there and you've got to build it. You've only got like a couple of days which you had, of course, before playing.
For the Ware game, yeah. And typical, like I've had 3 midweek games all season. I had one then, and it's like, what do you do? But ultimately, I can't thank Nathan and John at Bedford and the guys at Hendon, Finn at Hendon, and Jimmy and. Who else? Yeah, Enfield, Hendon, Bedford. We've just been getting, lads. We've had to come in from Barnet, who they were brilliant. That sorted us out quickly. So trying to mix it and get everyone together. And at the moment, all we can do is just, all I'm asking of them is just to what they do good individually. So if you've got a centre half that wants to win their headers, wants to win his tackles, as an individual, go and do that. And if everyone, which they did in the first half on Saturday really well, everyone individually did what they were good at. That's all we can do at the moment, but we've got to, like you just said, like with the FC Romania game and a few other games coming up, is we've now got to start taking points. We've got a massive one Saturday against Chalfont. But yeah, look, a couple of people said to me this week, you must be mad taking that job because there's a chance you could go down, and it's kind of like a bit of a poison chalice. But people said to me when I took over the Welling job, and we were third from bottom in Division 1, and I look at it as another project. And if we can just stay up this year, the progression will come next year.
Well, Michael Wayne's come on and Harford worked their socks off on Saturday, so obviously Michael must have been at the game. So if you get him to do that, it's a start. That's all you can.
Yeah, and I've got to say, the supporters and everyone at the club they're very knowledgeable with the situation, so they're not, they were delighted that we got a side out Tuesday because it was a local derby. They had a game to turn up to. I think we had over 300. I think, just under 300.
Was that at yours or was that at Ware?
That was at ours. And I think so. The lads that have come in already, so the boys that played in the first game, that played in the second game, you could see a lift in their performance just because of they can see the size of the club and the support base, and it's given them a massive boost. So I think that's the minimum that we're going to have to do is work hard. And now, where we've got a quantity of players, we need to just start filtering that into a bit of quality. Because we got in some great areas on Saturday, and we just didn't have that little bit of quality to kind of get ourselves in front. So.
All right, Molesley versus Marlow. That game was postponed. Waterlog pitch. South Park. South Park 1. Ware 6.
No, but when I saw that result, almost in a way, it was another pat on the back for our lads because we've played Ware obviously 3 days before and lost 3-0, and it was probably in the end a 3-0 result, but they've then gone to someone that's in and around us and won 6-1. So, we've, like I said, we were a group of lads that met each other at 6:15 on Tuesday.
Also,
so
as well with South Park, of course, they've had some really good results of late.
Exactly.
5 on the spin they'd won before that,
which again shocked me.
But I know Ware well. I know Paul, the manager, and I know quite a few of their players, and they are very not direct as in the way they play, but direct in that they've got lads that will get at you and they'll play short, or they'll play in behind, a lot of pace. So I did ask him to do me a favour.
I was really shocked that game was on, Dave, because if you remember the last 2 years, South Park, any rain, they were like untold games. It's always on. Brian Jennings has just come in as well. He's got Hartford Town. Fitness fade should soon pass. Once more, togetherness time has been achieved. If you understand what that means.
Yeah, and I think that's it. We can only get them so fit at this stage of the season, without absolutely killing them. So we've got a game tomorrow. We've organised a friendly against Clapton, so it's another kind of 60 minutes, 90 minutes in people's legs. So hopefully another improvement for Saturday.
Tooting Mission 1, Northwood 1, 180.
Yeah, I think Northwood would be happy with that. Tooting, like I said, on a good run. Got some good players. Like I said, my lad that's gone over there is playing regularly now. And they'd be happy to take a point there because I think they've won quite well, picked themselves right up, haven't they?
Wolfham Abbey 1, Bracknell Town 5. That surprised me.
Did. Didn't they struggled to keep the Marvel sent off again, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which I could throttle him, I like him, and God. But they do say goalkeepers have to be a bit mad. And he's getting someone in to replace Bracknell. It surprised me. It wouldn't have surprised me 6 weeks ago as we spoke, because they were flying. Things have happened, but to go and beat Wolfham Abbey, and Michael's a good lad of mine. He played for me as well. But
that did make me sit up a little bit, because we've got them the following Saturday at home. So I kind of asked a few questions of one of the lads actually that just left Hertford, had played for Wolfham Abbey, Charlie Edwards, and he said they were very good. They kind of dominated from start to finish, really. So, but wasn't expecting it to be that big. But
Jason must be doing really well, because he's just come in. He must be having the best Monday ever. He's come in and just tried marshmallow vodka, blooming lovely. The first half, he's talking about the Soul game. The first half officials we had at Soul this season have had a bottle of this before officiating at our games this season. Oops. Don't want to get Keith started. He said, I'm sure the official we had against Felixstowe last Tuesday were on commission. 6 yellows and 2 reds. Sounds like bottles of wine. We'll talk about this later, Jason. I have to let you know about my meeting.
Westfield 4, Uxbridge 0. 80 there for that game.
Yeah, so that's not a surprise, Dave, really, is it, I think.
No, not at all. Going into the South East Division, and Craig Wanderers 3, Guernsey 0, 160 there. Do you see Danson on the score sheet again?
Yeah, I watched him. To be fair, I watched him on Tuesday night against Whiteleaf after I think he got a hat-trick, and he didn't have his best game. And Craig were very good first half. I mean, they could have been 5-6, and Tony's coming up in here and tell you. But that's a good result, because Guernsey, even though they're travelling better now, I've seen Tony sent me a video clip of the sending off as well, which I'm not going to talk about because they're appealing, and I think like Tony talk about it. I think I showed you Dave anyway. But they're flying, and I think that's with Ashford now doing. They've gone above Hastings. Tony won't want to say about that they've won it and deservedly so. They've been very strong, and I think how many points are they clear now?
16. Just a few.
Just have a week off.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Great.
Yeah.
Another clean sheet for them, which has been a major thing.
East Grinstead Town 1, Ramsgate 0.
That surprised me slightly, because Nick's done well at Ramsgate and he's turned them around. I know they didn't really but yeah, they did. East Grinstead had a great result away to Guernsey in the week, and I wouldn't fancy doing that after what a night flight over there. But that's a really good result. Really good result.
Faversham Town 4, Greenwich Borough 1.
Yeah, that's the big sort of game we spoke about on Friday. Faversham have hit a run of form and right at the right time. I know Steve Boyle and Salis have started getting players in at Greenwich now. They lost obviously last minute to Phoenix, but they do need to start to pick some points up, and I still think they will turn it around.
Yeah, they're not got a chance, haven't they?
Yeah.
Haywards Heath 2, Herne Bay 1.
Yeah, they just keep getting results. Haywards Heath, they put themselves in the playoffs now. I think there was it, which we've got to play them at home soon, and Whiteleaf. So they've done well there.
Hive Town 5, Phoenix Sports 1. Phoenix going through a bit of a tough time.
Yeah, they are. I spoke to them obviously yesterday and Saturday. They just said they were awful. It was the worst performance that they've had. We said about on Friday, people was asking about Faversham. Yeah. Well, obviously Faversham and I have had a massive punch-up. I think a 40-man brawl after the game, and it was pretty serious, Dave. I think it's being really looked into, and I think it's been hushed under the carpet on social media. So I'm hushing it. But Hive is a tough place to go to anyway. They're a decent crowd, a bit intimidating. They're up on the balcony and they let you have it, if I'm honest with you. But they just said they didn't turn up. Phoenix Hive missed a penalty as well. And it's a game that they want to forget about, I think.
Do you think they didn't do them any favour? They went 1-0 up, didn't they?
Yeah.
Seven Oaks 1, Whiteleaf 3.
Yeah, that surprised me slightly. I said that it's brilliant for Whiteleaf to bounce back after the Tuesday night game, because, like I said, Cray were very, very good first half, and it shocked me that you know, I can't say it's one of the best football to see because I don't know all the Craig, but they proper made Whiteley for the first half look maybe a relegation side. They couldn't get near them. They passed the ball really well, and like I said, it was tough. But to go to Sevenoaks is really hard. Mick's got them really drilled, and I know it's AstroTurf again, but it's a difficult place to go, and to go and win there comfortably, it's brilliant. It's a great bounce back.
Three Bridges and Sittingbourne, that game was postponed. VCD 1, Horsham 3, 82 Derby.
Yeah, disappointed with the result today, but we got what we deserved. Horsham were very good and organised. I said to you, it's the first time for months I've had the whole of my squad available. And the first half, we just didn't turn up, and I read the report and it said it was fairly even, much in it. They're just big and strong, they play the conditions, they're very, like I said, well organised. They've got some decent forwards and defenders. We went one down and conceded a penalty in the last minute of the first half. Harsh, maybe, I'm not, I think it is because it was point blank, but it's one of them, give or take. Second half, I made 2 subs and we'd come out and went right at them and scored. And for 20 minutes, they were gone. They were wobbling like anything, and we had a few chances. And then we conceded poorly from the corner, and that was it. Game dead and buried. Got no goals. They were a very good organised side. I said that when we went down there. We didn't perform down there either, but that they will be in the playoffs, and if we get there, we're going to have to try and do better ourselves. But fair play. It's a game we come off with Dominic. Hold your hands up and said they were better than us. Simple as.
Whitstable Town 1, Hastings United 1. Another 2 points dropped for Hastings. 222 there to watch that.
It's funny. What's the better? Sometimes you can sign too many players, and I think they've done that. And Chris can go, well, but whatever. And they have got a few bob, but sometimes when they get a bad result, you've just got to hang in there with your squad. And I know they've had injuries and things like everyone has. Go to Whitstable, they're a big physical side. I thought Hastings would have too much pace in that. Maybe the weather helped because it was maybe soft, and but it's a great result for Whitstable. But again, it is 2 more points dropped for Hastings, and they've took our old centre half when he keeps going back again, and sometimes, as Adam said with the side he's put together, it takes time to gel a little bit. And they've got the nucleus their side, but there's always the odd different one coming in, and it could be from injuries or suspensions, but I can't really remember them having the same side over a current, a little bit of period of time.
Which is strange when they're fairly comfortable in the playoffs at the moment. I mean, they're 6-7 points.
They're a very good side, but they obviously let a last minute go in against Horsham, which wasn't surprised. Good. But now it seems Ashford, who didn't play because he was playing obviously tenderly. They're the ones that I think will now take second place.
So I suppose going back then to one of the big stories of the week, of course, is the fact of. So Jason Collins, before we go there, Jason goes, Emmerdale must be good tonight, has plenty of cheering in the background. What's Paddy the Bet done now? It's actually, I think it's the Avery players out there, I don't know what's going on out there, but one of the biggest news was, of course, Lee Dine, and of course losing his job after the game on Saturday. I mean, who do you see going in there?
I don't know, Dave. It's a big club. I was talking about it before. I know a couple of people over there. As managers, no one likes to see manager lose his job. Hence why I thought that tweet, and I'm going to say it was poor. Okay, doesn't matter what the manager brings. He picked them up. They were doing well. Kingstonian's budget won't be as big as some of them in that league, and I don't think it really matters what it is. They didn't do a bit of Ricky, but I think that it'll be a good club, whoever. One, they've got to get back home. A club of that size can't be, on their own. They can't be, they're desperate to get something. I think Ollie's just come with Bradley King. Not sure, it's going to take a good manager to go in there, but they will get good backing. They have got great fans, and let's see what happens. But I do feel sorry for Lee. He has obviously moved about a bit. He's been about, and he does need. Is it too early for him to go? Look where they are in the league. Look at the gap. It's not. He wins 3 or 4 games and
7 points.
7 points. It's different. When he took over, they were down by the bottom, weren't they? I think, and it's difficult. It's a difficult one, really. It might be, until he comes on next week, I think, and we get his version of it. But big clubs want big results, and that's what you're going to get.
It'll be interesting, I suppose, just to see if the cut that who Kingstone have got in the next in the next few games. We'll just try and figure that up just to see who they have got, because it could be interesting as well to see.
I think everyone knows that, he brings sponsorship and a few bits with him as well. So the clubs around the bottle or wherever that want to push might look for him as well.
Yeah. So Carshalton at home.
Two tough games.
Yeah, Carshalton at home, Brightness Hill away, Wingate at home, Harlow away, Burgess Hill at home, Lewis and Margate away, Enfield Town at home, Haringdale away, Hornchurch at home, Mersham away, and finish with Leatherhead at home. So
that Wingate game should be an interesting bold route, shouldn't it? But yeah, listen, they've got some tough games, but that's what maybe they've got a very good side. They will lose some players with Lee going, because he has brought some, without doubt. It just depends now where Kingstone want to go. But Ollie's just come in and he's gone, King George is probably the best place for the case for now.
But in all fairness, I mean, if someone like one of you two guys gone in, would you expect there to be, if you're going into somewhere like Kingstone, would you expect there to be a look at it and go, oh, it's true, they haven't got many players in there, do you think you'll lose a lot? I mean, would it be easy to
Let's book some in, and obviously for reasons, it just depends, obviously, what the atmosphere in it, who the manager is. You might want to bring some of his own players, you might want to do. Listen, it's a great job. I said this to you before. It's a job that nearly a lot of managers would fancy. I've spoken to them before, and I know Mark and things like that. There, it's decent to go there.
I suppose there's also, if they're looking at realistic and thinking we're not going to get in the playoffs this year, is what the aim is for next year.
Yeah.
How big do they go into the playoffs, win the league, and obviously any manager that's going in there this year is really having one eye on next year and what they can do next year.
I said, Dave, at the beginning of the season, and people that might listen to the show then, I said them playing at Corinthian occasions was never going to help them out at all. One, the pitch, no disrespect to it, it's not what they're used to. It's gone from Leatherhead to there, they're moving about, and it was always going to be difficult for them. But honestly, come on, said, wait, Lee is on next week. Ollie,
would you find, let's say for instance you was in there, you went in there, I mean, if you went in there, would it be easy for you to be able to sort of bring players in? I mean, would you go into something like that and say, right, let's go back and get Charlie McDonald and take Charlie with me, or have you got certain players that if you moved around?
Most managers have got certain players you'll get, but Kingstonian's a big drag. It's a big club. History there. Look what they've done in Trent. Look where they've been, and they got great support. You've got great backing. Of course, you would. You would easily be able to go, right, come to Kingstonian. You'd say to your players, look at the history. Look what we've got here. You would. You'd have to look at them and obviously see what their future plans are, what they're looking at, how is the ground looking to kind of get back to wherever they need to go. There'll be a lot, but I don't think there's a manager. I'd be lying. My phone rang, of course I'd speak to them, or anyone would. It's not you want it to, but their club is a big draw in this league. That they are a big club.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a look at the leagues then. So Dorking Wanderers are now top. All of a sudden, there's a 6 point gap at the top of the Bostik Prem. So Dorking played 30 with 62, Haringey 30 with 56, Bognor Regis 30 with 49, Folkestone 30 with 48, Mersham 30 with 48, Enfield 30 with 47, Lewis 28 with 46, Worthing 30 with 46, Worthing 30 with 46, Tonbridge 28 46, Leatherhead 30 45, and then there's still 43s and 41s underneath that. At the bottom, Whitehawk improving now, coming into a bit of form. Knight played 29 with 22, Burgess Hill 29 with 25, Wingate and Finchley 27 with 26, and we should say congratulations to Lane Eady on the birth of his first child today, so congratulations to you, Lane. Harlow Town 29 with 29, Hornchurch 29 with 30, Margate 29 with 31. I mean, where do you see that? Do you see Margate being pulled into it, or now with Jay now that we moved the other way?
Joe will go the other way. Hornchurch and Harlow, I would say the bottom two for me look nearly stone. Unfortunately, Wingate got 2 games in hand. They need to obviously get something to them.
I think Potts Bar started picking up some results at the right time because they've just put a bit of gap between them and the bottom three. I agree. I think it's really between that Hornchurch, Harlow, and Wingate really for that third one.
Someone always normally just drops down but look at the sides today. There ain't them sides up there. Hence maybe why Kingstonian done what they've done now, just in case they thought that.
Yeah.
It's a big gap. It's 14 points for them. It's not going to happen with 12.
They're closer to the playoffs.
Yeah. So Anyway, Ollie's come back and gone after running a few points off the playoffs, still have a small chance, and Michael's come back and gone, no, Adam, you're not available. Hope his contract was good then.
Going into the Bostic, North Bowes and Pitsea in their top. They played 25 with 59. Malden played 25 with 53, and of course those two play each other at the weekend, and I think Bowers do play midweek as well. Averley played 26 with 53. Haybridge played 26 with 51. Coggeshall played 25 with 46. Berrytown played 27 with 42. And then you've got Sudbury and Tilbury on 37. At the bottom, Romford played 25 with 18. Milden Hall 26 to 20. Then a 5-point gap to Dereham now played 26 to 25. Whittam 26 26. Soham 26 27. And Brentwood Town 24 28. So, playoff places, are we still sticking with the four that are in there?
Yeah, I'd say so, Dave. Obviously, Sudbury got a couple of games in hand over Berry, but only one, so they're still,
43,
it's
yeah.
a big gap, isn't it? Yeah, I would say them four. Someone needs to put a great run. Tilbury, Sudbury, they're big clubs behind them. Even Canvey, that if they can go on an 8-9 game straight wins, then but the four up there, I think are Stonewall at the moment, 1 to 4. That they're going to. I can't see them getting caught now.
Yeah, I've just got a sneaking suspicion we might see the semi-finals being Bowers against Coggeshall and Averley against Haybridge.
Yeah. James has just Michael's come back and gone. Harlow will stay up. Jason's obviously must be on the next bottle because he's got forget the top. The bottom is the place of excitement in the north.
So we're
just talking about. So Jason, where do you think?
Yeah.
And James, I'm still sitting on the fence. Says Canvey got a pasting and he's got a bottle glass pint in his hand as well.
So I mean, literally with this stuff, I mean, like Romford bottom with 18, 7 points adrift of Dereham, but Dereham are winning games now. Do we fear again for Whittam all of a sudden coming back this way again? Soham are in there. I know Jason won't like saying it, but they're winning.
Fine.
They're strong enough to get out of it.
It's the bottom four in it. Like you said, Romford though, it's a big gap now.
I mean, even up to someone like Great Wakefield, it's 11 points, isn't it? That's an 11-point turnaround for Romford to get them to literally get up and above them. So
4 straight wins, Dave. Looking at when you've only got 12 games to go, that leaves you 8. It's difficult.
Let's have a quick look there.
You look at the league.
We'll have a quick look at Romford as well.
James thinks Tilbury win every game. They've got the team, but a big statement. What odds are you going to put on that, James?
Interesting, isn't it? They've got some good team there. But so Romford's next games then. Dereham Town at home on Saturday. Bowers away. So Bowers at home. Canvey at home. Brentwood away. Milden Hall at home, which is another massive game for them. Basildon away, another big one for them. Malden Chictory at home. Haybridge away. Whittam at home, another big one. Sudbury away. Soham at home and Grays away.
I think they have to win them home games.
Well, yeah, because I look at that and I think, look at all the ones they've got around them. They've got to play, and they're all playing them at home.
They've got 3 out of the top 5. They've got 5 out of the top 7.
And then it's going to be difficult, isn't it? And you look at some of the runs that they've actually got as well. The teams they've got to play. Malden followed by Haybridge. You lose them two, and somebody they're going up against wins both. That's another 6-point swing, isn't it? So it's going to be difficult, but and again, it is Romford after all.
James has just said, I'm just waiting for Averley. Tasty. Obviously, Tilbury Averley.
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
Should be a good one.
South Central or the Jigsaw League. Hayes and Yedding top 25 with 63. I think Nick or Craig might be going down to present the trophy very soon. Marlow 24 with 48. Bracknell 24 with 47, Westfield 25 with 46, Cheshunt 25 with 44, and then Ware and Waltham Abbey just outside with 43, and also Tooting as well, just out there with 42. At the bottom, Egham looked doomed, 25 with 9, Molesey 23 with 14, South Park 24 with 21, Hertford Town 26 with 23, but again, that's a big swing, isn't it? Molesey 7 points to South Park. I mean, Egham, you'd say possibly already gone. Would you say?
But what's interesting there is if you look at the fixtures, South Park have got to still play Molesey. We've got to play Molesey and FC Romania. South Park are playing FC Romania. Chalfont have got to play Molesey and South Park. So there's a lot of games where there can be a big swing.
Yeah.
And obviously, Moles have got the 3 games in hand over us. Obviously, we've got the points on the board, but I think one of them is Tuesday night. So, yeah, it's. I mean, you can see, as I was saying, is I think for us is, maybe, I think possibly 10 points. I think should be enough, because then, like you said, that's a lot of games that Molesey then have to win.
Yeah, Dale, I think the bottom 2 have gone.
Yeah.
I like people Molesey. Tell you what I would like, and we're talking to Tony, I wouldn't mind Craig getting a friendly against Hayes and Yedding. I wouldn't mind going to watch that. That'd be a great game, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And looking at that, talking about Hayes and Yedding though, 25 games played, and they're 2 goals away from 100 goals in the league this season.
Already, yeah.
It's great.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? That is just incredible. And then you look at the others that are up there top, Dorking have only scored 60 and they scored 7 at the weekend. Bowes and Pitsea have only scored 51. And Cray are also winning league by miles, have only scored 58. It's just, that just shows you what, I know people don't like the idea of team of the year, but if you're picking a team of the year at this present time,
the only thing I'll say, Dave, and it's really difficult because comments, I haven't seen many, obviously, now Adam's got in there, but if you look at the bottom of their league, they're, that's the worst, apart from obviously Thamesmead with no points, but that's a different reason, out of all the leagues. 9 points. So, because we call it, and it is disrespectful, the Jigsaw League, there's teams all over the place, that could, is some of it not as strong as some of the other ones, and I think that could be a reason, No respect, if you look at some of the sides up towards the top, that in other leagues haven't been anywhere near that, and at the bottom, it's that could be the only thing. The bottom sides seem to be really cut adrift.
But it'll be interesting next year with these two teams going in. It's going to be either Malden or Bowers. If you say Malden from the north, that's 3 sides that are going to go into the Prem, and that's going to make that
really strong.
Incredible.
I've known.
They've got to come down and all.
Yeah.
I've known Husey for a while at Hayes. He was manager obviously at Kings Angley, and when I was at Welling, and he's always set his sides up to be attacking. And even if there's a game where, if he went 2 games now without scoring, he wouldn't change it. It's just that's the way we play. Obviously, he's flexible, but he's always been like that, and he sticks to his guns.
There's no surprise now, because they're a big club. They're falling down the tree quite quickly, and I know they've sorted things out, which is good. Jason's just come back, obviously, he's talking about the North, and he's just put, it's such a strange league this season. Can't understand why the Hull are down there, or Deerham, both good sides. Romford are gone, and it's squeaky bum time for the Greens of Sun.
Very, very interesting. Going into the South East again, Cray Wanderers at top. They played 25 with 64. Ashford played 24 with 48. Hastings 25 with 47. Horsham 24 with 45. Haywards Heath 24 with 42. Whiteleaf 24 with 41. Hive 25 with 39. And then we've got BCD 23 with 35. At the bottom is Greenwich Borough. They played 25 with 17. Herne Bay 24 with 20. Sittingbourne 23 with 20. And Guernsey 24 with 25. And now Faversham all of a sudden, where they were in all kinds of trouble.
Now the new management's come in and done well, mate. He's brought, they've got rid of a lot of players. And when I was over there before, I think it might be the first game I watched them play Ashford, and I was talking to people there, and they said that they had a few bad apples, a lot of bad apples. They had a lot of players on contracts as well, and they've cleared a lot of them out, and it's worked. They brought some youngsters in, and we've got them at home coming up soon. So,
Jason Collins just said, "I will be gutted if we get relegated." As apparently the Monday night podcast for the Furlough Premier is broadcasted from a shed in the Fens, and they only have dial-up and no broadband.
Don't worry, Jason. I'll come over the show for you once a month. We're livening it up.
Yeah, we just wind it up a little bit.
Bring that whatever bottle with you.
Yeah, but who's going to go down from there then?
I hope Steve and Steve Salis can get some points to get some results. Looking at that, we've got Sittingbourne coming up. They've got a young side. They're doing okay. Guernsey are too good to go down. For me, it's between them and Herne Bay. Herne Bay got a great result beating Hastings the other week, then got absolute ironed out, and then I think they lost again in the week. They lost again Saturday. They're a team that are unbelievably underachieving with the side they've got. But they need to start getting some points. If Greenwich can, and they've got a hell of a job over there, a hell of a job, to get some points. But if they do, and I know Steve will be working exactly what Adam's done. He's brought players in all week, and he's constantly on the phone. That's what he works his granny off. Steve Salas has got some brilliant contacts in the pro game. So they've also got a lad called Anthony Potts that obviously was a Tottenham, was Gaz's boot boy. Got some great stories. I played with him as a coach. He's a great coach as well. I hope they can get out. I really do.
Well, of course, we could end up having, in a few years' time, if Guernsey managed to stay in that league and so forth, we could end up having a couple of journeys over that sort of way, couldn't we? Because Jersey have now got their own team starting up.
Well, it's not even that. St Peter's, the Kent League, what we call the old Kent League, the Skeffel League, they've invited them into the Kent Senior Trophy. We have the Kent Senior Cup, but it's still obviously below, our league, step 5. And they got into the semi-final, so they can't be a bad side. I think they've got Beckham Town to play. They got called off last week, and they come from out. That is in Guernsey, so they're a team in Guernsey, which is for the first time. Guernsey obviously can bring some players through, so you could be going there as well.
Certainly be interesting. But I mean, do you see anybody sort of upsetting the cart in either relegation or promotion? Is there anybody there that you always seem to find somebody that seems sort of like 10th, 11th, 12th, disappear or go up?
Well, we better not disappear. Now listen, our league's very strong. Ramsgate, since Nick's gone there, picked themselves up. We've got a couple of games down over Hythe. We've got, like I said, a massive game on Saturday at Whiteleaf now that we need to start picking some points up. As I said, we've only drawn 2 games all year. We either win or lose, so and it's important for us. Haywards Heath have done well. I'm still saying that we will get there. I've got my team's got, I think, good enough, young enough. I know James has put a really nice thing on there to say, "Hope you make players, Keith. You've got a very good young team." Thank you, but we do. I think we've got the firepower. I've got the lad up front, and we haven't been given him much. With Ali Fassini coming back on Saturday as well, 2 massive experienced ex-pros for us. I think we can put a run together. I really do.
So you get in the playoffs. Who do you want? Who would you? If you could pick one of the ones that are around you, which would be the one that you'd fancy to take on?
No.
I don't think there's much chance of that one.
No, that's the good thing, isn't it?
You can't get them.
You can't get them. Listen, I don't know. I'm worried about that then.
At that point, they're all hard, aren't they?
Yeah, listen, Ashford are a really good side. Hastings, Horsham, I think them 3 are there.
Yeah.
No respect. We played Haywards Heath early away. We've got them at our place. We beat them there. The Whiteleaf, if they get there, I don't think Hyde will. I don't think that all the sides there. So even though Zach's decent, I don't think that they're there. But listen, people could say the same about us. But I just think, once you're there, you don't. Listen, I've been there before and won it. So I don't think people fancy us even because of that record.
Well, he's putting here. James has asked, "How good are Craig?" We'll find out in a minute.
They're excellent. We'll talk about it. Tony's very well drilled, and they got some great experienced players as well. They score goals, but the one thing they've done this year is at the back they're very solid. They don't concede many, and they're patient and they're very good, and they will do well next year as well. Do very well next year.
I think it'll be interesting to see that going next year, and of course it'll be a bit. It's still going to be one of those things where you just don't know who's going to be in what leagues even next year, do you? It's not been like other years.
Listen, Craig could end up in the Evo Stick Prem. You never, I did one, but it's just until the league balls that up, they must be going to all get on the lash, spend the referee's money on their Christmas do or something, and then just stitch us all up. So we'll wait and see.
But it will be interesting, though, won't it, to see where everybody falls, next year.
That's the thing, David. It's really frustrating for all the clubs because you just don't financially. They can kill you. They just don't know. They don't. I've said this before. They don't give a toss about football. They really do not give a toss about us, and that is why people need to stand up to them. Our league needs to get the best from them. They need to know what's happening. All these 80 clubs, we spend a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and fair play to Marlow because they were one of those sides at the start of this year that were in a bit of limbo where they wanted to be in the Southern League because they've got teams in and around them like Oxfordshire and that kind of way. They've been put in there which they didn't really want to, and they've done really well to be in the mix.
Well, you look at this down here. I look at one of these. We just take Harlow for instance. If the worst was to happen to them, which I don't think it will, as I said on Friday night, but if the worst case scenario happened with them, where do they go? Do they go in the North League? Do they go in the Jigsaw League? it's up in the air, isn't it?
Coin
So
toss,
you know
isn't it?
who's going up, down, or whatever. Listen, they might even add more teams. Because at the moment the 20 teams in our isn't working. Everybody is moaning about no games, and I know it's difficult. People are saying this and that, and they're on about doing this league thing again. These midweek games are killing us. You've got to be playing. It's hard. It is really hard, and even like the amount of teams that are in the Prem now, 22. Okay, you do play some midweek games, but you've got to get that bit of football back. The atmosphere, you miss that. You miss the midweek games. You really do.
I suppose the only downside to that is if you start getting if you get a bad sort of autumn or whatever else, and you've then got a big backlog of games, all of a sudden people are going to be saying, well, hang on a minute, they've got all these games to play midweek and now got all these replays to play as well.
Yeah. But that's
football.
That's football. That's the good thing about it, Dave. As managers, players, you go, right, it's Tuesday, Saturday, this is what you're doing. And everyone goes, yeah, can't wait for that. Like Tuesday, Thursday.
I don't know if you found as well is that when you've got Saturday and a Tuesday, and you've got a squad of 18, let's say, is if you've had a tough game away on the Saturday and then you're playing at home on the Tuesday, is that it gives you a chance to rotate, maybe put one or two in. But then otherwise, if you've got lads on the bench or not in the squad, they're waiting for the following Saturday to then play again. And that's what I've found with some of the lads I've taken in Hartford is that because there's no midweek games, that if they're on the bench, like the lad Brad Empton who's been at Enfield, been on the bench for like 7 games in a row. Like, Andy really rates him, but if he's not playing, he hasn't then got any options to play midweek either. So it makes it really difficult to manage your squad as well.
You have a bad result on Saturday.
You want
a game tournament.
Yeah.
Training is great for the beginning of that, and it is. Most managers go, but some of the players lose it. It's mundane, always at the ground, 3 times a week, always. And you do like going elsewhere, and you can change it up. And you do need them games, and every manager will say that. And I understand, it's not down to the league. I get that. They're saying about this fixture. They could come up with this idea of this League Cup, but listen, let's just sort what we've got out. This 4-league thing ain't worked because the actual ball's up about the playoffs. Everyone's cocked it up from the FA as normal. They must have gave Coco the Clown the job to pay him a fortune as normal. Go and bugger up the non-league football for us and just give it to the women, let them sort it out. The girl football.
And I know there's some concern at obviously a lot of the managers in the South Midlands League Step 5 is that where if they go up, obviously at the moment it's only one team or Essex Senior. Like I know Jason really well at Saffron Walden. It's like what league are we going to go into if we do go up? Because they're starting to pan like chairmen and managers are going, well, if you're Saffron Walden, again, what league are you going into out of them?
You cripple the club, because they've got to travel miles. We spoke to Dan Messick the other week, didn't we? And I'm talking to people from the leagues below me, and they're going, we don't even know if it's 1 or 2 up, or 3 or whatever. They still don't know. How crazy is that? And all because someone has a bright idea last year, it is crap. They couldn't have cocked this up anymore.
Well, Brian Jennings is going to agree, missed the midweek habit, but pleased with standard in the Jigsaw League, deserving of bigger crowds. But do you think that's, of course, again, not bigger crowds because of the travelling, Lewis? If you're walking Abbey and you've got to travel to South Park, it ain't going to be, you're not going to walk down a lot anyway, but you know what I mean? They're not going to...
See, the easy answer for the FA and people you speak to is, well, you're in the Premier League, you've got to travel anyway. Yes, you do, but they're not. So don't just use that as an excuse all the time. These clubs have to pay money to do what they need to do at that level. They all say about you need to adjust your budget or work, whatever, as a whole club, what you need to do. Well, let's all guess. The only league that we know is the South East because they're all Kent sides. But let's not all guess.
It's just, I thought the idea of the 4 leagues was down to the fact of less travelling.
Supposedly.
Yep. Well, we are going to ring our mate Tony now from Craig. He can tell you how good his side is.
Hello, mate.
Carl, you must have been sitting on that time.
Yeah, I'm literally at a game, so I was just trying to find a quiet place. So, yeah.
What are you watching, mate?
Yeah, go on, mate. Oh,
what game are you watching, Tom?
I've just moved. Yeah, hello.
Hello, mate. It's Keith. What game are you watching?
I was just at 23s, mate. I got a game against Three Bridges, so we've got a few injuries, so I might have to call a few of them up. So I just want to see how they're coming along.
Injuries after playing them and all. Oh dear. So just tell us about your season. Obviously, we've been talking about it tonight, and obviously people are saying how good is this Cray side? Just tell us, what's the difference between this year and last?
Good question. The biggest shame about it is we had a great season last year. Probably played better football in terms of attacking than we have this year. It's just last year we just had a real bad period where the FA sent us a letter about an incident that happened 2 months prior, and we've already got banned for a further 3 games. And then that game was on I think we played about 24 games unbeaten, and played Lewis, and then we had 2 sent off, and then we went 6 games of that. I think we got 1 point, and that was it. And obviously we got to the playoffs, 2-1 up, and 9 sent off, and obviously ended up losing. So in terms of that, obviously we lost 1 or 2. It always happens when you lose in the playoffs, but we recruited really well. We got lucky, really. Bradley Pritchard come up because obviously Gwyneth Borough had some issues, and we spoke him to try to get him. And then Fipsy, who got from the league below, has turned out to be a great signing. So we just continued that, really. I think it's hard for some managers. I think managers get judged too early. It takes time to build a side, and I've had time, and all I've done really is just build on what I had. We had a really good season, and for whatever reason, it just wasn't meant to be. And I just added 1 or 2 onto that, and obviously the information and the stuff we work on is already embedded in 90% of them. It's just had the rest of them coming along with it, and it's clicked, and we've been really consistent this year. That's what I'd say. That's our biggest strength. We've been really, really consistent.
If you look at your side, and you mentioned it, I would say like the experience of Tom Pitt's coming in, but also you said Brad, and Sean Roberts as well. It's 3 big centre midfield players for you.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Roberts one's come completely out of the blue. He sort of contacted me and sort of said, "Look, I'm going to be leaving Altrincham. Obviously before he enjoyed the way we played, so to get him in and on the back of what." He'd gone away and won a league. There's a lot to say for that. Someone who's won a league, players get confidence off that, and he'd come into our side as a league winner. And added on to Bradley Pritchard, who's obviously won League 1 at Charlton, and Fipsy's obviously been at Ebbsfleet and Tunbridge. So great experience, and they managed the game. I think that's our biggest difference from this year to last year. We don't have to play well to win a game. We can manage it. We get ourselves in a sticky situation. We've got boys that manage the game really well, and I think that's probably been the key to our consistency over the season so far.
Tell us about your game Saturday, mate.
Dangerous game that was. I said it was a dangerous game because I felt we was a little bit complacent in the warm-up. I could sense it, and I sort of went at them a little bit. And if I'm honest, we probably played for about 30 minutes the whole game. We really switched it on in the first half and scored 3. Probably could have scored a couple more, and then second half it just petered out. It was a nothing game really. But yeah, it was as comfortable as it's gonna be. It was a nice one really at the end of a busy week. Obviously we ain't used to playing midweek games anymore, so playing Saturday and then obviously a tough game away at Whiteleaf and then coming into that game, it was obviously quite a nice game in the sense we didn't have to exert ourselves too much.
How pleased was you with the performance at Whiteleaf, Tone? I come over and watched that.
I thought first half we were unreal. I mean, I don't really get too excited about us as a whole. You don't see me on social media or talking too much, but that first half, I must admit I've never seen anything like it in terms of one of my teams producing that performance, because you also operate in context who you're playing against. Wiley for a good side, Harry's a good manager. We've gone there and, if you was there, if we'd have been 4 or 5-0 up, maybe even 6-0 up at half time, I'm not sure anyone could have really owned it. It was just walking through them, and some of the football we were playing was excellent.
I said that before you come on, Tone. I said that, and I said this was no disrespect to Whiteleaf. It was like a team at the top playing a team that was at the bottom. They couldn't get anywhere near you. And you're right. I know, Joe missed a couple of chances and the keeper made a few saves, but I can't remember they even had a corner, I think.
No, yeah, and I said that to the players. We do a huddle after, and I said to the players, you know, you got to take great confidence from that, because there ain't many teams that's going to do that to them. I mean, you've made them look very ordinary at times. I think second half it petered out a little bit, but it was as good as I thought. Such a professional performance in terms of the stuff we'd worked on, the stuff we spoke about, they executed it. We played them at home and they caused us some trouble, to be fair. We drew 1-0 and it was about a fair result as well, and I thought we've gone back and met them a couple of months later, and you know, there was a big gulf between the sides on the night, especially.
Just obviously looking forward, mate, and you know, you're chalking the games off really. And I know it's about performances, it's points, but you've got yourself a great lead now over Ashford, not Hastings, for the first time for a long time. You know, what you planning for? Obviously, I know you well, and I know you and the club, what they've done over the past few months with the ground and everything. But you know, are you already looking eye on next season?
No, I'm not. I mean, it's funny because we obviously got off to a really good start. So everyone's been saying it to me for about 8 games in. Oh, you boys gonna win it. You boys gonna win it. And there ain't one bit of it. If you speak to anyone who's close to me, will tell you I've never once said, "Oh, we've won the league." You know, I've just been in football long enough, and I was so focused. I was so annoyed last year. It's the lowest I've ever been at the end of last year. That was a hard pill to swallow, and that just motivates me. I'm still massively focused. I make sure the players every week we talk about it. Don't go on social media. Don't want to see things on social media about how well we're doing. We ain't done nothing. So no one deal with that rubbish. I'm not interested in it. You know, we're just, there's no, you walk through that dressing room at the end of the game, you wouldn't know if we've won, lost or drew. You know, it's nice and relaxed, nice and calm. We go through the same process as the boys are at yoga now. We do a yoga session on Monday night, do a video analysis on the game and a yoga session. They're in with a yoga teacher now. We'll go Wednesday, prep work for Ramsgate. As soon as the game's finished, that's all we spoke about, Ramsgate. Just focused on Ramsgate. No one else, I don't care about anyone else in the league. All I care about is Ramsgate. So until we deal with Ramsgate, I'll worry about anyone else or points, or I don't really know who's behind this. I don't try not to look at the league table. I'm not interested. I just focus on until someone says to me.
I know you're out there, Tom. Everyone is.
Yeah, no. Look, it's easy for everyone to say. You know, it's an easy thing to say, but I'm just not built like that. I'm just not someone who goes around spouting my mouth. And Dave will tell you. I mean, even when we won the league at BCD, I didn't go on the show until I won it. You know, I didn't want to talk about anything until I won it. I just a big believer in that. I just think, you know, people do too much talking sometimes. I think, you know, just get it done and then you can talk about it all summer. You know, so until I get it done.
Here every week.
So I know it doesn't help you on the radio station, but you covered it. It's pretty boring interview.
Yeah.
I promise you, listen, if it ever happens, and I will come on and I'm happy to talk about it. But
I'll see you in a fortnight when I think.
You've known me a long time, Pete. I'm not thinking about it. All I care about is Ramsgate.
Well, let's just start. When when you do win it, and you come in, the trophy's a little bit better than when you bought the trophy before when he was with VCD. Because I can still remember what a piece of tin that was that you bought in, shall we say?
The thing is, though, Dave, them things they're just things you just spray champagne with. What really matters is when you've got that title in terms of what people say you've won it, and also the progression of moving up the league. But I mean, the actual trophy itself, I couldn't care if it was 2 foot tall or 2 inches tall. It don't bother me one bit.
But I've just looked at, I know you say don't look at any further Ramsgate, but I've just pulled the fixtures up, and you've got some toughies coming up. I mean, you've got Ramsgate, Phoenix, Horsham, Hastings, Haywards Heath, the next sort of 5 games, all inside the top 10.
Do me a right favour.
Yeah, and we've also got, if I'm honest, we've got a really tough week this week because Billy pulled up with an hamstring strain, Ben pulled up with an hamstring strain, Fitzy's got suspension dangling over his head because we've appealed it.
I saw that. That's unreal.
We haven't spoken about it. We didn't think it was there until
we've sent that in. We're open common sense for Vals, but obviously that's dangling over our heads. Barney Williams has got from an MRI scan's come back clear, but he's got fluid. His knees the size massive, so we are down to our bare bones at the moment. So we can't take anything for granted. You might have to bring one in online. We're looking at it. We're waiting for this FA thing before we decide what we're going to do. But in terms of the fixture, if I'm honest, and I'll probably go the other way in terms of what I've just said, but I don't really care who we play. It does not bother me one bit. Like, there is no easy game, there is no hard game. For me, and if we turn up and we do us, we can beat anyone. We're not scared of anyone. There's not a fixture that I go, oh God, I'm worried about that. I'm not worried about that. The Herne Bay manager made the biggest mistake the other week before we played them. Done 2 interviews in the week saying about how we'll be more scared of them and they're scared of us. And I've got in the dressing room, the players are talking about it. And, you know, we've gone 4-0 up and the boys are running back to get to the halfway line to get to them.
He done the same to us when we beat them 7-1.
Yeah, but I don't understand it. This is what you live, and hence why I don't go on social media giving it the Charlie Biggs spots, because it will come back and you're just going to motivate people. I want people to be unmotivated when they play my side. They don't say nothing and then, what a lovely fella Tony is, thanks. And then we beat them and it's like, lovely, have a lovely season, good luck for the season. That's how I want it to go. I don't want to be going around saying what I'm going to do.
We're looking at your record, mate. Like I said, you know, you've only lost one game, which is the best record in all 4 divisions. I think we've even I don't think I think it's of all the steps as well. Okay. No one's only lost 1 and 2's the maximum, which is Hayes and Yedding and I think Peterborough or something. So, you know, you've got to be over the moon with that. And especially someone else has just come on about the message, but you've lost, obviously, you know, Michael Power. I know he's on loan at the moment, who's been a big thing for you, but how big a signing was getting Joey Taylor in halfway through, when
our injuries this year have been horrendous. I mean, Shaggy's been out for 3 months. He's, you know Shaggy, he's a great player. Aaron Raw was out for 3 months, come back for 2 weeks. Now he's out for another, probably month and a half. Bentley was out for 6 weeks. Jay Litt missed the first 4 weeks of the season. So, yeah, ridiculous. But it's just, like I said, I'll go back to before, you know, you've suffered it from yourself, Keith. You know, it takes time to build a squad. You've got to have time as a manager. These chairmen drive me mental because managers need time. They get a batch of players together. You start bonding, and you just add 1 or 2 and 1 or 2 and 1 or 2. Now, I get a player injured, we've got another player who can play another position because he's been with us and he's been in the sessions and we're doing the patterns of play, we understand it. So we've managed to cope with that because I've been here, this is my 4th year. That's the biggest thing that I can say to you. If any chairman are listening, before you go and sack your manager, what's your long-term plan? If you're short-sighted, then don't mind if you keep losing and players come in and players come out. If you want stability and you want to have success, you know, give these people time. You know, if you obviously rate them in the first place, you wouldn't have got them in, so you've got to back them.
Would you, I mean, we were laughing and joking about it earlier on, but if you set up a friendly, midweek friendly, fancy taking on Hayes and Yedding?
I wouldn't bother me.
What a great
Hayes and Yedding, if they want to play.
I said, I'll go and watch that.
Yeah, always, yeah.
I haven't, to be honest with you, I think I've watched 2 South Central games and they were both tooting the Mitchell. She was looking at one of their boys. I've watched a couple of North games, so I haven't seen, obviously I know their pedigree as a football club, they're a fantastic football club.
The goals they've scored,
obviously stuff's
98
come down a
goals.
little bit, but they're obviously flying at the moment. I know they're scoring a bundle of goals.
98 so far, Tom.
Yeah, like, we did us last year, though, I think we got 130 in the league last year. It's just when you get dragged into them, the problem with us last year is drag us into the trenches and we're getting to a tight game, we couldn't win it. We'll blow teams away, but when you're blowing teams away, we beat Ashford 9-1, beat Horsham 8-0, it's just battering people, but then all of a sudden you get your 1-0, 20 minutes to go against Cole Shorten, we just didn't look like we had it in us. Where this side, I think if you get us 1-0, I'm still sitting there comfortable thinking, we'll get you, we will get you. Look how many goals we've got this year because we're just relentless. I think that's the difference with the Phipps, the Schindler, the Pritchards are so used to winning games of football, they've so got that experience, they don't panic and they don't try to change things. And the worst thing players do, you see them, when it gets tight, they think they should do everything. They start dribbling past everyone or come off the script, and that's when it kills them, and that's when you get picked off. I think me and Keith had a conversation after our game about a youngster who had done the same thing against us. He sort of got anxious and he started running around the pitch all over the place, and all of a sudden we had holes appearing everywhere because he was coming out of his pockets. So it's just a bit of enthusiasm, but you can't buy experience. That's the key to it.
I suppose it'd be wrong of us not to ask you about the new stadium. I mean, you must be excited about that.
Yeah. No, it seems obviously a long time away at the moment. Because obviously, I think they've only just gone in there. Starting the work. It's going to be obviously 16 months, I'm told. I don't know, it just feels, the club just feels on a massive high at the moment. It just feels like everything's clicked into gear, and, you know, we've just filled up, and, you know, we're at the start of something that's going to be pretty special, I think. So it's nice to be there, but it's like anything, I'm just not one of these people who gets too far ahead of myself. I just try to concentrate on the here and now. So the ground's good, it's in the background, it's done now, and I'll take that away, let the boys do their work off the pitch, and, you know, me and Barnsley get to work on the pitch.
No, mate, I wish you all the best with it, like I said, and if you can, in the up and coming months, nick them points off them clubs above me, and we'll be happy.
People don't need any encouragement to try to win a game of football, mate. No, I'll be doing that anyway, but if I can help my old team out, I certainly will.
Top man. Well, thanks for coming on, Tone. Appreciate that.
No worries. Alright, speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
See you, Tone. See you, mate.
You know, and I know that someone's come on, I think it might be James again, and saying, "Oh, it's just the Cray station." To be fair, we've hardly spoke about him too much, Dave. We over the year, we've just let him get on. And Tone, obviously, you know, he's kind of come on the phone to us today. But you know, how can you not talk to, you know, someone that's done
so well?
Yeah. We've tried also to get Hayes and Yedding on, but with no response. So, you know.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I've tried to, we tried to get hold of people, and but no one wants to respond. So, you know, if we can get somebody from Hayes and Yedding on, we'll be over the moon to have them in the studio as well. And same with any other side. You know, we do try and get as many of the sides as we possibly can on the show. And some people are great and respond, and some people don't. And of course, we can't get them on the show. So, you know, we will be trying. As I said, next week we've got Neil Blackburn from Basildon, and also Lee Darnan coming on as well. You know, and of course, if people want to come on the show, you know, fans, players, managers, you know, whatever, you know, we're free and open to have anybody on the show. It's not an issue. You know, we'll have anybody that wants to come on and have a chat about football for us. We've even tried to get Jason Collin out of his beer pit, but we've not much joy.
Well, Jason's just come back and he's gone, "I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way. I meant it sounded like Babe Station." Listen, Jason, after 9 o'clock, it will be Babe Station. Right, so we move across then.
So, I mean, Adam, I suppose what the first things first. I mean, he's at Welling Garden. You know, he's at Welling Garden, and then sort of moving over, come out of a job there, and then sort of coming to Hertford. But I mean, he was going okay at Welling Garden. I mean, what happened there, and then on to sort of getting the job at Hertford.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been at Welling. This was my sixth season at Welling. You know, I took over, like I said earlier, to Keith. We took over, I think, third from bottom in South Midlands Division 1. New committee, to be fair, come in at the same time, and like was just spoken about, is where you've got good people off the pitch, match it on the pitch. You know, and Welling Garden used to be quite a fairly big club back in the, you know, kind of 80s and 90s, and it was just about time that someone kind of took it by the scruff of the neck and thought, look, let's get ourselves up to a level where I think a town with 70,000 people should be. You know, and I had people saying to me in the street, "Oh, you know, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole," and well, someone's got to. And being local, played for the club myself as a youngster, and I thought, right, this is the time. I'd been at Barton Rovers for 2 years as an assistant manager. I'd managed in the county league before that. So just kind of went in, and initially it was just a case of almost making it like a glorified Sunday side, if I'm going to be totally honest, where it was getting local lads. The club hadn't had any local lads playing for them for probably 6 or 7 years, and just getting a bit of a spirit together. And I'll never forget my first interview for the club. They said, what's the first thing you want to do? Hot food and Sky Sports. And they looked at me like, no, football side. And I went, yeah, that is a football side, because there was no spirit in the club whatsoever. And gradually we, you know, it took us 2 years. First year we finished fourth, got to the last 16 of the Vars. Second year we won the league, and the cup double. Went into the Prem, and to be honest, we were actually about, I think, 10th or 11th come kind of Christmas, but we went on a run of about, I think we won 15 and drew 2 of our last 17. We actually ended up fourth, and only about 10 points off the top. So we weren't expecting that in our first year. Second year we kind of probably, you know, hands up as well. We probably went then to move too quickly, because we finished fourth. We were like, well, look, what's the progression? It was still only the top side that went up. Probably moved too quickly, got a few lads in that probably there for $1 rather than wanting to actually be at the club. Learned loads from it, finished mid-table. and and we kind of reassessed it. And last year, I looked at it and thought, I want to get the best players in from the South Midlands League, with one or two that I knew that had been playing at step 4. And just from the very first day of pre-season, you just knew, you had that feeling that it was going to be a good year. They all got together quickly, and very much like Tony was just saying, with him, his lot is we had a real core of 31, 32-year-olds that had been there and done it in that league, had won it with Royston, had won it with Kings Langley, mixed with some real good 19, 20-year-olds that had real pace about them, real quality. And up till when we won the league, which I think was with 6 games to go, we had 100 points, 100 goals, and I think we'd only lost 1 league game up to that point. And it was just one of them seasons. We got to 2 cup finals, unfortunately lost them. So then everyone was then looking at this year and how we can progress and how the ground can progress. Started off really well. We won 4 out of our first 5. Obviously in a league that I kind of knew a few sides from when I was at Barton, but as a club, we didn't really know much about the Southern League. We didn't know much about the opposition. Started really well, then went on a poor run, then went on a good run again, then went on a poor run again. And it was just finding that consistency of, taking that step up, because you couldn't afford to have a poor game, whether it was against a good side, an average side, or a poor side, because you wouldn't get any points out of it. And then, without going into it too much, a new committee come in at the start, just after the start of the season, and kind of made it quite clear, really, that that be careful how I say this, but their kind of main their priority wasn't for me what happened on the pitch. It was more what's happening off the pitch. When I say I don't even mean the ground, I mean what's happening kind of off the pitch, in the sense of money coming to the club, social side, stuff like that. They made that very clear to me, and obviously there was a budget for the whole season promised. That then changed, and to be honest, I thought after 6 years, this probably would have been my last year anyway, because I felt I was getting to the point where I needed a new challenge anyway, a new scenery, get out and learn a bit more. And we, I handed my resignation in. I said, look, I want more than this. I think I've deserved that in the 6 years that I've been here and the amount of work I've put in. When I left the club, we had a 9-a-side 3G training pitch, which was through funding, just through the way we built the club. We got a Premier League grant for new change rooms and new stand, and I just thought that we're kind of outgrowing each other's ambition. So made that decision. The players made their own decision. They decided that that they felt myself and them had been treated a little bit unfairly, and they made the decision, bar I think 3 or 4, to leave as well. And for a week or so it was a bit messy, and then like anything, they get a new manager and it's forgotten about and you move on. So I then thought, well, I'll take a bit of time out between now and the summer, get out, watch as many games as possible, more so probably Southern League, Bostik South Central, Bostik Prem. Went over to watch Wingate, went to watch Harlow, went to a few games since I've been off. And I've been out 4 weeks and I was enjoying it, but I was just starting to get that little itch back. And to be honest, not really expecting anything. So I thought if it wasn't what I wanted, now I'd have been happy to wait until the summer and wait to see what comes up. And then literally I was sitting there on Sunday, a bit of a hangover, and just literally got a call. I knew obviously quite a few of the Hertford players. I knew that our ex now Hertford manager. Obviously they come off a real bad result at Hayes and Yedding, and obviously he left, and they phoned me Sunday and said, look, we've had a pretty similar situation to what's happened at Welling. The manager's handed his resignation in, and all the players bar, I think, 4 or 2 really, 2 first teams, what you call first team, and 2 under 23 lads, and the rest of them have gone. Like, would you fancy it? So I went and met them, sat with them for 5 hours and said, look, I'm happy to take the challenge, but I need certain things guaranteed between now and the end of the season, and then we'll sit down at the end of the season and kind of see where we're both at and how we want to take it forward. But I've had almost the same response as when I took over at Welling. It was like, why would you do that? Why would you go in there now when they're, fourth from bottom and, like 9 points off relegation and you've got to build a whole squad? But for me, my next job was always, I wanted it to be another challenge, another project like I had at Welling. And now I can see, obviously, in the short term now, it's a massive, massive challenge. But just from having 2 home games, which is, kind of done us a favour in a way, not so much with the actual results, because our home form, the next 6 home games, we have to try and pick up points. Good support. But the fact that we've had the 2 home games is got everyone on side quicker. They can see, some of the boys that have come in, they are young lads. And a young lad centre half, Dylan Powell from Barnet, he's a second-year scholar. I thought he was absolutely outstanding on Saturday. He's quite a shy lad, but he's big, he's strong. And the supporters really appreciated it because, he doesn't, he lives the other side of, I think, North London. He doesn't really know the club, but he's come in, and that's what we've tried to do as quickly as possible, is get a bunch of lads that understand what it means to the supporters of the club. Yeah. And they've done that in 2 games. So I'm up for the challenge, and it's new for me because with due respect, I've been at a club where for the last 6 years we've been challenging whatever, especially step 6 and step 5. Mm-hmm. We've always been in the top 4, top 6, cup finals, challenging for the title. Whereas this year it's something completely different. So for me, I see that as almost, hopefully, and we can stay up and we can progress, another string to my boat, because I'm experiencing something I've never experienced before, really.
So when just go back, when you go into this meeting, you say it's for 5 hours, and you know that you ain't got any players, and you've got a game on Tuesday.
Yeah, 36 hours later.
What reassurances are they giving you, or and also what are they asking? What are they asking you to do? Just keep them up, or just build like what you said you've done at Welling?
Yeah, I mean, for now it was the 2 objectives were get a side out Tuesday, get a side out Saturday. Once you've done that, then we'll assume you've got a squad, and then stay up. They're the only 2 things we've spoken about, is get a side out and stay up. And then, like I said, we'll assess it next year and see what, I'm under the impression they've got some big plans for next year, and they want to go it hard, and they want to be successful. They've got the support base to be. But it was literally a case of get a side out, and that's where, like I said earlier, some big thank yous to, your Bedford Towns, Enfields, Barnet, Hendon, Barton, where people couldn't kind of help quick enough to say, look, I've got some lads that haven't been playing, to be honest with you. We thought this of them, or we thought that of them, but they've struggled to get back in the side for whatever reasons, suspensions, injuries, work, holiday. And I've had to really, which again is another good thing for me, is I've really had to put my trust and faith in people that I respect in football. We all know it's about opinion, but I've had to put my faith in them. And literally on Tuesday was a case of throwing in 7, I don't know, I'd say maybe 5, including on the bench, probably 9 players I'd never seen play before. I had a few that had come over from Welling, a few that were at Hertford that we've either played for me or we've played against. But other than that, I was just going on what people's opinion is. Now, obviously, not yet. He's still at Basildon. Yeah, he's only in Harlow. But yeah. So obviously, since Tuesday, we've trained Thursday and just made it a kind of get to know you session. Really, went again Saturday with another 5 that were making their debut. And like I said, there was massive improvements just from Tuesday to Saturday against 2 sides that are kind of similar in the place on the table.
When you was in this meeting, did they give you any sort of idea of what has basically gone wrong at the club? Because a year or so ago they come up, they had a decent year in the North last year. Is it that obviously bad results, or moving over to the league where they're travelling and the unknown, I would say? Did they mention anything like that, or was it financial? Was it? I think
it was a bit of both. I think obviously that they weren't, the results weren't good. Obviously, I mean, I think we've dropped 1 place since obviously I took over just for the last 2 games. But I think that they were losing. They'd lost a few players over gradually up to the point of explosion anyway, which I think there was some financial situation there, because I think from the club's point of view, they looked at it, and at the time, and going back maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, where we all know it happens, the chairman goes, we're cutting the budget, we're going to save it towards next season. We don't think we're going to go down, we're not going to get in the playoffs, and rather than earn X, you're now going to earn Y and take it or leave it. And obviously some players, or a lot of the players, have decided, well, at that time, we'll move on, because to be fair to them, a couple of them have gone to the league above, a couple of them have gone to the same teams in that league, and they're making probably double the money than what they were on, and it's still local.
But do you think that's a wrong thing? I mean, if we get halfway through the season, if you've been told as a manager you're going to get this amount of money to spend every week or for the season, and then all of a sudden you get halfway through the season and you've got players there that you said, like, yeah, we're coming in for this, and you get halfway through the season and they're looking and go, well, look, yeah, Egham have got 9 points, Molesley got 14. Realistically, we ain't going to go down, so boom, you're only going to get this amount of money.
To be honest, like, I've been on it from both sides in the space of a month, because I've seen it, the fallout from what happened at Welling, and I was the manager on the other side of it. So from that side, I'd say, well, no, I agree. I think if you promised X, then you should get X. But then now I've seen it from the other side, and I can understand why they do it. Like you said, we built a side at Welling last year where, probably 80% of them, I think, are good enough or have played at step 4, are good enough to play at step 4, even probably 1 or 2 of them at step 3. But, we've now lost a real good group of lads that have played together. And, like Tony just said, if we wouldn't have got in the playoffs this year if I'd stayed at Welling, again, we wouldn't have gone down. But to finish 12th, for example, in your first year, it is a building block to then go again next year. And even if you fall just short, it's another...
I think that just answers your question from the outside. It's difficult. I've always said that if that happened to me, I would. Because there's two reasons. Again, I can't look a player in the face and go, I'm giving you 20 quid, but I'm only giving you 10 now. Someone come up to me and then wrote back it the other way and said, well, yeah, I'm giving him 20 quid to do the best, and he hasn't. So now we're rearranging it. He hasn't done what he said he was going to do, which I still don't agree. Us at Winchester, I'm not saying lucky. My chairman, we spoke about it even last year when he said, look, just keep us up, because we were doing nets around the ground. But he still paid the players. Now, the thing I can't get is that I'm giving you your 20 quid, and then all of a sudden I'm only going to give you 10, and I've gone back on that agreement. But next year you're still going to sign for me, and I'm going. I look at players and go, how can you do that? He's already stitched you up that club, and you've gone or whatever because of it. But next year you're going to go back. And
that was going to be my next question. Yeah. How do you have that confidence in that manager to go, oh, come and sign for me next year? So you hang on a minute. When it gets to January, you're going to drop the money again,
I think a lot of clubs do it, and I think that's where it's unfair a little bit on the managers. And like I said, I know the guys that have just left Hartford really well, and I know that was, and they have at the club now. I know they have cut it, and I know that was an issue, because to lose 4 good players 2 weeks before you play Hayes and Yeading, Chesson and all that, you're going to be struggling. But I think where it's difficult for managers is that, depending on what club you're at, it's not necessarily the manager, and that's why in the end I had to hand my resignation at Welling, because I didn't want it to be that. And ultimately, if all the players had stayed and they would, oh no, it was this and it was that, well, then they could look at me and say it was my fault. But the fact that all the players walked out is a sign that actually they knew what was going on, and like I said, 3 of them already signed for me. So I think it can be the manager, and the manager saying that you're going to get more than what we've got, but also it is the club, and if they're going to cut it or they're going to take that money away, as a manager, like Keith said, you've either got that decision: is you stay and you put up with the consequences, or you go see you later, and then the players then make that decision the following year to either follow you and sign for you based on your word and what the club's word is at that time, or they don't. Because especially in that league and in that area, there's more than enough clubs for someone to go down the road and get an extra 40 quid if that's what they want. But where, for me, has been a massive benefit, even in this last week, is that I'm talking to lads, and I think I've now signed 20 players. 2 of them have asked me about money. Only 2 of them. So they've already played 2. Well, some of them have already played 2 games, and they've not even asked me. And it because I've made it very clear is that for 12 games, all we're focused on is getting together as quickly as possible and getting as many points as possible and staying up. If you're here then next year, you'll get the rewards for that. But have it on your CV as such that you've come in at a time which is really sticky for the club, and you've kind of pulled your socks up, and you've kind of come from, whether you're 19 or 32, it don't matter. You've come from another club, and you've come into something that's, I said that to him on Saturday. I said, I haven't been in this situation before, so I'm not going to start saying to you, right, well, why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? Because none of us have been in that situation.
Have you found, or will you find, obviously, we're going back to the league you're in. You've got Ware, Chesson, all round you. I've got a couple of others as well. That people like to get local players, but with the league, are you struggling getting local players because they're travelling all over the place? Is that a negative to try and attract them to the club?
I think at the moment and in the situation we're in, yes. I think next year will be different because I believe that the club, myself, the support, we can attract some of the better players in that area because you've also got Bishop Stortford, you've also got Harlow, obviously we're in the league above. So I believe, obviously just the 4 clubs we've just mentioned are good big clubs, but I believe we can, and even if that is slightly less money than others, but at the moment, I've got lads, like I said, because I'll do me a favour coming from Berkhamsted. Berkhamsted have been brilliant. Lee Bircham, we've got 3 lads from there who haven't been playing. 2 of them are outstanding on Saturday, but one's in, I think, Aylesbury, one's in Berkhamsted, one's in Potters Bar, we've got 2 lads coming from the other side of North London, one in them. So because like you said, because you're trying to get a squad in, but that's where I've been impressed is that lads are going, well, and it's not just that, Thursday night, we train up in Hatfield and it's, so they've got to come there as well from Bedford, and they all did, and I've been really impressed with their hunger just to want to come and play games because obviously they haven't been playing, and I've got one that's actually joining us who's actually on contract at a club, and he said, look, don't worry about speak to the club about the money. I just want to play, and he's like 27 and he's centre half and he'll be great for us, but I've just been really impressed with how hungry people are to want to just come in and play and help basically the club get out of the situation they're in, and then push on next year.
We're looking at the games you've got coming up. I mean, Shalpon St Peter away the weekend, in Bracknell Town at home, Molesley away, Northwood at home, Westfield away, Marlow at home, Chipstead away, Romania at home, Egham at home, Hanwell away, Cheshunt at home, and then finish off with Bedford Sports.
Yeah, I looked at them games yesterday actually, and I thought, if you look at you take probably Bracknell, Marlow, Cheshunt, 3 of the top, was it 6?
They're all around you.
They're all around us, and like I said, I mean, I like Paul and I like Ware, and I thought they were decent, but I looked at Ashford, and and I've known their manager a while actually, and I thought we could have come out and got something from the game, and that's what I said to the players after, is that actually now as a group we'll probably only add 1 or 2 more, but they've shown that they can compete now. And then I look at the sides like you said we've got, and they're all, after those 3, they're all kind of 9th down, 8th, 10th down.
Like I said, we wish you well with all of them apart from Molesley, unfortunately, because they are our club every day. Yeah. So as long as you can win every game, but you can't beat Molesley.
Yeah, I'm starting to make the trip over there on Tuesday night. I think tomorrow night.
You'll get a bit of an eye opener.
I actually played for him when I was on loan. I was on loan there from Stephen when I was at Stevenage. I played about 4 or 5 games there. So they're great people there. Then, but I look at the games and I think if we can just get ourselves together quickly, I think we'll be all right. I think we will. And I think like I said, the supporters are really knowledgeable of the situation and really understand. And the support they gave us on Tuesday and Saturday was unbelievable. I mean, Tuesday night was the biggest attendance they've had all season. I think it was 298 that full gate. And they were superb. And again, the lads are looking at, well, this is a club we want to play for. So no, onwards and upwards, hopefully. But I'm up ready for the challenge. So a few more grey hairs in the last week.
Well, so there's one thing we should talk about, because I know, unfortunately, Keith wasn't well last week. So I know he's had a conversation, of course, with the Referees Association after the programme the other week. So I mean, inform us in how the conversation went.
Yeah, it was really good, Dave. And like I said, for all the people that when I said I was going to do a petition trot or whatever to help the referees out, some people go, you might make divots or moaning. Well, it's worked in one way because, like I said, the Referees Association did contact me to have a telephone Skype meeting with the chairman and the secretary, which I had last week for about an hour or so, and it was so good. And I felt, and they want as much help as possible. And firstly, they were telling me that a couple of things that they asked me about what I thought and going on more about the referees academies and things like that. But then they informed me obviously about what a tough situation they're in and what really the FA had done to them. And I said this before, the FA don't give a monkeys about our level of football. They put no money into step 3 or 4 referees this year, which is our level. The counties, which are 50 of them, they've had 15% budget cut in referees for them 2 years ago, and a further 10% this year.
So it's not just the clubs with a budget cut.
So you know, and they're getting no money from these referees, Dave, and it's a joke. And they mentioned, you know, they don't think refereeing is publicised enough. Like they went with me, you know, what a great living you could earn. They think that referees are fast tracked too much. They believe that there shouldn't be any assessors as well. We had one Saturday. But we had a very, very good conversation, and I think they're either meeting Nick at the from the league at the FA this week at some sort of meeting. And they were going to ask after our meeting to maybe use our league as or the league as like a trial test case of what they've done with VAR and things like that. And as much as they can't finance it as what I'm saying in the academies, they've come up with some suggestions, and again, Adam hopefully would be all this. One was maybe, say, VCD, Hertford, Averley. Every week we got 3 officials to come and train with us, a referee and 2 linesmen, all the time. They work with us. So they would come out, do the fitness with us, and then they would come out and referee in line our training sessions we come up with. So we'll do a defence against attack. So they can explain to the players, one, they get used to the players. Obviously they couldn't ref us, but they're A level, okay? They'll explain to the players why they make some decisions, and also they could go through mistakes, or we could go through stuff that's happened on a Saturday, and they could see it, and vice versa, and it would take this up. We mentioned about the fitness of the referees. They 100% agreed. Referees only do true training fitness beginning of the season, halfway through. Half the time they don't turn up to the second one. They also agree that our level has gone very quick. The players are quicker. The linesmen, how on earth can they be fit if they don't do any training to catch up with one of our forwards? I said to them, do you think your referees could play 90-minute football, actual game, play at our level? Not I mean the pace. They agreed, no chance. So I said, well, how are they meant to then keep up with us? They 100% agreed, and they said, look, there is no money from the FA to do this. So they were going to ask, would we be prepared for that? I said, definitely. I think it would be brilliant. I don't think any manager would do it. We mentioned about obviously. They said about meetings with managers and that, and I said, look, we have the one about respect, and all we do is watch the Premier League referees on video, and they agreed as well. You know, there's all videos of our games now. Maybe we could have
compilation
2 months, you know, of our games. Yeah. This is what should be happening. This is why we do this. They say they make mistakes. They also said about with us, you know, would VCD be happy to have a group of referees that refereed away youth games on a Sunday every game? Would Averley be happy with that? So, because you know there is no referees at level, it's training for them. They 100% agree with that. We come up with maybe having a monthly, or at the beginning monthly, then maybe 2 weekly or weekly training sessions where they would come. 50 referees would come to VCD on a Sunday and train all day for 8, and they would pay this. The Referees Association would then they could come to Averley the following, so they're not using our ground all the time, but it's a training base for them to go to, because at the moment they've got nothing. You know, I know the KCFA have got a training ground. I'm not sure about Essex and so on. So we was coming up with some really good ideas. They've arranged for me to go to a Kevin Friend evening in Canterbury with I think about another 100 referees. I'd be the only not, but to talk to them, listen, and they're really up for this as well. They did say a lot of the money, and which really does pee me off, this from the FA has gone to women's football, which I think is a disgrace. You know, Charlton play at our place, they get, you know, about £100,000 a year, where our club has to spend our own money.
We've got Stevenage that's it.
Disgrace, right? And I said to us, they're just not doing anything for non-league football, and they agree. And they're saying the same. Where is the next Mark Clattenburg coming from? And this is what I said to them. You know, where is he coming from? He's got to referee at our level. But he's not good enough, and he's flying through. They're making mistakes. They agreed. Referees, the full-time referee and linesmen there in the Premiership are full-time. They train every day. They work for that level. So why are we getting palmed off? And they 100% agree. So we started, like I said, this conversation went on for over an hour, and we made some great, I think, strides. And they said they were going to talk to Nick about it if the league are interested. So it's down to them now. You know, if they go up to Nick and go, right, can we use your league? Can we send referees down? Would you be interested to go and talk to the other leagues? Well, I'm doing it now. I'm asking all the teams, are you interested? If we had a proper referee and 2 linesmen come down to every single one of your training sessions, one, obviously, you've got to treat them professionally, and I think we do. And this is what I said: as many people think that we're having a go at referees. I'm not. Obviously, we all get bad decisions. I've seen them, and people are using me now as dear keep for that. I want to help these people, and within what I've done so far, it's made a difference. As I keep saying, my petition thing is still going. Not been publicising it massively at the moment. We haven't gone out to managers or referees, but there was even referees that agreed with everything I have said, and they want this. They want investment, and we need to get the FA to change this. Why? And our league need to do this, Dave. The Southern League need to do this. Why are the FA not spending money on referees? It's not fair. It is not fair on them. They're giving it to the big boys and not us. And we need to help.
And I think, sorry, Dave. I think that was that great point what you said about like with the video, because like I mentioned earlier in the show, that the referee we had on Saturday, I actually thought across Southern League and Boston was probably the best we've had or I've seen, and a lot of that was because I think he was late 20s, he was fit. He, like I said, didn't always make the right decision, but when he did, he was 5 yards away. So at least as a manager, or even a player, you can say, oh, you weren't 30 yards away, you were 40 yards away. He was 5 yards away, and then that's his opinion, which as a manager, you think, well, at least he can see it, and he might have made the right decision, he might have made the wrong decision. And that was the feedback that, like I said, me and the Ashford manager gave him, was that didn't get every decision right, but you didn't hear anyone moaning or shouting or screaming at you, because he was there, and his position, not just his fitness, but his positioning and the way he read the game. So he didn't have to run 50 yards, chase after a winger that can run the 100 metres in 10 seconds. He was already in the areas that he had to be. And that would be great to show that video. We film our game. That would be great to show, like you said, of that level, not...
This is, again, going on for it. Again, we also spoke, he said, could we get a game at VCD? You could play Hertford on a Tuesday night where we would get 3 very strong officials, like you would get maybe we could say a Premier League referee and 2 officials, and all the referees at step 3 and 4 that are available will come and watch the game. We will video the game of you playing at your level, and then we'll take it back on another day. We'll get them all sat down and go, right, you've got, because he said we couldn't do it with the referees at our level. They would crush under pressure with every other referee watching them, as they do when an assessor.
Anything from probably League 2 upwards or something like that,
And I kept saying that I don't want to be showing Premiership games. You've got to show our level, and that's he said if it's fine, they've got to run everything past the league, because that is obviously we all know that, and they've got to say yay or no. But if they were happy with that, would you be happy with that? And I kept saying, look, anything that can help and improve, not the communication between the two. It's just obviously break down the barriers would be brilliant. And like I said, they agree as well that, and some of the comments I've had, Dave, if you stop moaning at the rest, they'd be better. They agree all that is absolute nonsense, because they get that. They know, you only have a go at referees because something's gone wrong. And something's gone wrong, but they need to know what's gone wrong, and also you need to know what's gone wrong. But I would say if most managers knew what the conversation I had about the budget and look, these referees are just being hung out to dry, and they're meant to be the next one going forward. And all they do is they make a mistake, and then they're put into another game again, and they make a mistake, and they know this. And like I said, Paul, the chairman, and George, the secretary, were brilliant, and hopefully, they will have this, and Nick and that will come together and come back to us.
Do you think they will?
Well, they're going to come back to me within 3 or 4 weeks from now. And
do you think the league will take it seriously enough with
should.
the referees, or
if they don't,
they should do?
Then we can look at them. All I've done, Dave. I've tried to make it, and I'm trying to help. We've put, this conversation with what I'm saying, for me, has made massive steps between what could be a massive thing later on.
And I think what you just said is a great point as well, in the sense that, that if you've got a young ref, say 25, he's trying to work his way up and he makes a mistake, you put him into a game, he makes a mistake, you put him into a game. We wouldn't do that as managers or coaches. And they don't do that at the top level. No. Because all you're going to do is, like you said, kill their confidence.
But this is what I said. But if you've got
why not do it
on a Tuesday night and they make that mistake, then it's going to happen again in another 30 seconds, because you're just constantly doing like pattern of play. They can see it, and I think and their brain will be switched on. Bang! Also on Saturday, they're going to be looking for it and go, right. We've just been doing that about 20 times, and they
habits,
are all over it.
Habits.
They want it. The referee association want that. But they just need something in tactics. So if they use the Eastern League as a test case, I think it would be brilliant for us. Obviously, we've tried to make a difference, and we move on. And then the next thing, we do what I want, a little bit more and a bit more. And then the FA will look up, and this is why they want to do it, the Referees Association, the FA will look up and go, oh, look what they're doing, look what that league's doing, and they'll invest. They actually said to me they haven't got this issue in the Midlands and up north. It's only from down because no one, the referees don't do it. The FA don't do anything for them. The committees, the counties don't do anything. So they've got no money. They've been given no money to do anything with them. And I tried to say to them, and that's why I had to go at the geezer that tweets what he tweeted. Because it's ridiculous like that, I'll stop moaning. But if I've looked into it, I looked into our county. To become a referee now, they're putting these courses out. One, I said to them, you're going to say to a start-up referee, there's 25 quid, like a young kid, you've got to go and pay for your own kit, right? You've got to pay for your own course. And you've got to go and get abused by a load of dads because you don't really know what you're doing.
That's exactly what I had.
What about the other way round? Look, we need you, right? There's a kit, right? We'll pay for your courses, but also we're going to send you into clubs. We're going to try and teach you. We're going to try and break. They're going to help you. What would that be? And they went, we'll have that all day long.
But I'd still be refereeing now.
There you go.
We just had this from Jason Collin. I'm not kidding, but the official we had between Sam and Felixstowe couldn't keep up. And after an hour, he got a stitch, crouched down while the game was still going on. He ran well, fast walk, he's off. Just couldn't keep up. He spotted a potential good game. Just for the record, we deserved to lose, but the official was blowing his whistle every chance he got just to have a rest. I'm not kidding either. And Craig's just come in. Craig Johnston, of course, has come in and said that the FA appoint referees, gents. Our league have no dealings.
Yeah, and that's right, Craig. And we've said that many a time. We're not actually saying that. They are saying that we can work with step 3 and 4 referees around our area. Not just with that, to come and work, but they want to. They're not saying they're going to give them to our game. They're asking, will obviously our chairman or whatever go and speak to the other. All the leagues, the 80 odd, and say, would you be willing to take them training? Would you be willing to try and help? We're not saying that the league appoint them. We're not blaming the league for the referees. We know that. What we're saying is these referees referee in your league, Craig, your league. So why should you put up with substandard referees in your league? You should be going, we want better referees for our league. And the way to do it is to back this and help. That's all we're saying.
And it'll be just interesting. I know it's very difficult to actually get a live referee. And what I mean by that is somebody that's refereeing now to come on the show and have a chat and all the rest of it. I'll be really honest with you. The one person I would really love to chat to on this show as a referee would be the young lady that I blow trumpet about all the time in Abby Byrne. Because I wouldn't want to talk to her about refereeing decisions. I wouldn't want to, that's not what we want to talk to her about. I'd love to be able to talk to her about her career,
her pathway,
and what people have done for her and how she's got on. Because, when you think, as we said, I say on the time, when Brighton AC got promoted, the game against Romford, she was actually the referee in the Ryman North on that day. She was actually the referee. Now she's a UEFA official, refereeing games, abroad. She's running the line in Women's FA Cup finals. She's running the line in this. I don't even know if it's been picked, and I think there's a big possibility of her being UEFA referee. She could be going to the World Cup in the summer. Who knows? But she's a fantastic referee. But I'd love to hear what her progression was.
When I spoke to, like I said, the Football Association, this is what, and again, we keep having this issue why people were misunderstanding what I'm trying to do, and they keep saying I'm under this. It's not that. The big issue, what I'm trying to do, is to get the FA to start putting their hand in their pocket and pay out of all this football money and start filtering it down. Like I said, the FA have done a brilliant job with the England youngsters building St George's Park. Yeah. They invested a lot of money into that. Now look what's happened. 17s, 19s, 21s, 23s, all doing well. Our teams have to do what we have to do. The big important people, they keep saying, are the referees in the middle. And they haven't spent a penny on them. So get your hand out, spend, I said there's 50 right, counties. Give them £1 million each a year. Go full time with 20 referees. That's 1,000. Sorry, that's whatever. 1,000 referees, right? It's cost you £50 million out of the Premiership's TV deal. That's peanuts. You have them all the time, and then you get a better standard. And that I know that's not going to happen overnight, but you've got to start somewhere. So let's invest in them. Let's help them. If we can help them with training with us, if we can help them training with whatever coming into this, it will work. It will just make them a bit better, and it gives them a chance. You're giving them a chance, like you said. You can't bring a young kid in to your team to play, a youth team lad, with no training, no coaching, and just go get on with it. It just doesn't happen.
And as you know, as Keith said earlier, you know, when you're talking about his result, you know, he openly said, you know, they probably weren't good enough on the day, and a lot of managers will say that, but what you don't want to be doing is just using the ref as a blame game every single week to say, you know, I'm sure there was your referee, our referee. There were some possibly poor decisions, but at the end of the game, if the manager can say, look, all right, we probably didn't deserve to win, but you don't then want to go, but it was the referee, but it was that, and you know, and if that takes that away, that helps, doesn't it?
How can between let's say an average of a 35-year-old man that doesn't train at all, right, catch an 18 to 20-year-old kid,
sprinter, basically,
Usain Bolt going down the line? How can he keep up with it? It's impossible. Now, I'm not saying if he trains 3 times, but he'll be more fit. But what he'll be able to do is he'll be able to do about 20 more runs because he's fitter, not just the. And that is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and they were. I was so surprised how supportive they were about the referee association. And
that's good to hear. Really good to hear.
We are trying to make a difference, Keith. But our hands are tied themselves. And like I said, whatever happens, if just say, you know, the league, all they're looking for is support from everyone. So it'd be great for us if we do support them and help. We're going to go. We're having another meeting in a few weeks' time about they're setting this up. We're going to set that up. Listen, I don't care. No one does want to help. VCD, I will have these in there. You know, and I will.
It's definitely something we'd.
Even if it's only 3 referees that we're helping.
100%. Yeah.
Right? But they've got to want to do it. He did say this as well. That some referees don't want to do it, Dave. If they want to do it, now I spoke to individual referees as well about this. Some really do want it. They want. Now, I really, really think that, and the advertisement as a career for a referee is so poor. You sit referee. Do you want to become a referee?
Glorify it a little bit.
You might as well put the old army geezer pointing.
Yeah, we need you.
Uncle Sam, right? Because that's what they believe. Yeah. They don't believe that they can earn £200,000 a year, and it ain't that hard to get there.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had just some things before we go, but. Michael Whaling's coming to 100% agree with Keith. Jason Collins coming. She's talking about Abby Byrne, of course. She's a well-respected official who was head and shoulders over other officials in our league. Just shows that commitment can bring from our level. And Steve Curtis has said, Abby and George Byrne live in Milden Hall. Get her on the phone 1 week. Someone's put, Steve Curtis has then put, she'd probably be out training LOL. Which is fantastic, yeah. Catch her on a training.
But Dave, just last night, I said, surely they should be as professional as we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Michael Whaling said, surely VCD versus Hertford Towns in the he's coming. Well, listen, everybody, a massive thank you. I've been watching the figures tonight, and we've been keeping a real regular stream of people watching tonight. So a massive thank you for that. I hope you like the look of the new logo, etc., etc. We will be trying to get some merchandise out there as well. There's more things to come. We want you to send in your referee clips of the refereeing decisions. We want you to send in your goals.
Yeah, we're going to be going through.
We're going to start to go through them. We're going to get all the backboards changed to the new name, etc., etc. We will be going with professional cameras, etc., etc. as well in the coming weeks as well. So there's a lot of new things coming on with the show. We need your support, of course, because there's still people out there that don't know the show's even still here after 6 years, believe it or not. There's still clubs out there that don't know the show's here, but please inform them, let them know what's going on. We do it for you, and remember, whatever knockbacks this show gets, and trust me, we get a lot. We are here for you, and we're here to promote the league that we love, and we will be here promoting the league that we love, whether we're official, unofficial, or anything else. We will be here promoting your league for you and trying to promote every single one of you 82 clubs. We're not in it for me, we're not in it for Keith, we're in it for every single one of you 82 clubs that are in the Bostik League. So please support us as best you can. But hopefully over the weekend you will get the points that you want over the weekend. And until next week, when we'll be joined by Lee Diner and Neil Blackburn. Don't forget, of course, also the preview show this weekend as well. That's at 7 o'clock on Friday evening, and the games will be published tomorrow. But until next week, from me and Keith, thanks for watching and good night.